to negotiate school choice programs at the state level?
Well, first of all, many states have really gained tremendous momentum in the last 3 years, particularly since eyes were open through COVID, around education freedom school choice programs. And at the federal level, there's a very important piece of legislation that has tremendous support in both chambers to establish a federal tax credit that individuals and corporations could designate a small portion of their federal tax bill into scholarship granting organizations and programs that will directly help kids and families. This is the best mechanism without creating a new department or a new program that will inevitably get thwarted somehow down the road, as we've seen so many examples of at the federal level. But the tax credit will be the best way for getting resources directly to the families and the kids that can use it most. And so there's tremendous support for it. We're very hopeful and working hard to ensure it's part of a reconciliation package and program. And that really is the best way to ultimately support school choice education freedom programs.
Interesting. Let me just get a couple more of your thoughts before I let you go. We just learned that a university like Columbia was getting $400 million from the federal government in the form of mostly grants and contracts. That money is now being canceled due to the university's handling of anti-Semitism in part. I think a lot of people, though, were surprised to hear that dollar figure, that $400 million figure, to hear that much federal money is just going to one university.
Yeah, it really is unbelievable. And I think, what has happened here is really going to awaken people more to the need for higher education writ large to reform itself, or it will be reformed, for it. And there are so many funds that have flowed to higher ed institutions in various forms, research grants and other programmatic, funding. And so this, the fact that Columbia has so openly, I think, flouted any kind of responsibility and accountability to follow the civil rights laws is really begging this kind of action. And it will be instructive to see how other institutions examine what they're doing and make needed adjustments.
To that point, I'm sure you saw it too, this former grad student who was still living at Columbia University. He has a green card, but he was arrested by immigration authorities for pro-Hamas demonstrations on campus. Do you anticipate, knowing this president, that more such arrests are imminent, if those people can even be identified? A lot of them wear masks.
Well, I think the whole issue of students and other protesters masking is part of the big issue. It's easy to be anonymous and not be held accountable if nobody can see who you are. And so, I mean, again, this is a big issue that I believe universities will help themselves if they stand up and start taking the actions necessary to ensure students can access their education. That is, after all, the civil rights law that they are bound to protect and observe, that all students can access their education programs, without being impaired from doing so.
Betsy DeVos, thank you so much for your insight. We appreciate your time.
Well, thank you so much, Jessica. I hope you have a great day.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1 and newstalkstl.com.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. But don't just take our word for it. Here's Jackie and Veronica, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
Our U.S.-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Just call or click to see how much you can save today. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com. That's 1-888-FREEDOM or consumercellular.com today. Real people pay to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
Robinhood Gold members can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on annual retirement contributions. With Robinhood Gold, the perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive a 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC.
Greg is a real Prevagen user, and this is his story.
Hi, I'm Greg. I'm not an actor. I'm just a regular person. 8 years ago, I just didn't feel like I was on my game. I started taking Prevagen, and I want people to know that Prevagen has worked for me. Give it a try. I want it to help you just like it has helped me.
Prevagen, at stores everywhere without a prescription. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Testimonialist was compensated for their
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Is Trump the peace president? Steve Bucci at 425, 525. Chris Stegall will tell us if open enrollment will solve Missouri education woes.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Hi, Sean Long from STL Fenceworks. A new fence or deck is an investment in your home and your lifestyle. But how do you ensure that you're getting the most out of that investment? At STL Fenceworks, we know the key is satisfaction. Satisfaction means getting a fence or deck that not only meets your needs, but exceeds your expectations. Satisfaction means working with a team that cares about your project as much as you do. Satisfaction means having confidence in the quality of your new fence or deck, knowing that it was built with the best of materials and workmanship. STL Fenceworks, your satisfaction is our passion. And for me, satisfaction is knowing that providing for your family is how I provide for mine. Visit STLFenceworks.com and experience the satisfaction in making your backyard dreams into a reality.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Jake Lang, former January 6th political prisoner, founder of Federal Watchdog.
So grateful to God that he showed me the mercy that he did and, that he orchestrated this win for President Trump. It was intrinsically tied to the January 6ers the entire time. Everything he went through, we were going through. That bullet that missed his head missed our head as well.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Are you being audited or investigated? Has the IRS sent you a letter demanding payment? You may not owe what they claim. Make this free call to the tax doctor now. Let them negotiate with the IRS on your behalf.
800-240-4586. 800-240-4586. That's 800-240-4586.
This whole thing's got me thinking about how privileged I've been. America's a wonderful country. If I were a black man, I'd be furious. We're getting frustrated.
Number one for live and local
conservative talk.
There are certain issues that we need improvement. They would rather have this country on its knees than be successful.
News, analysis, opinion.
We have common sense, and the Democrats have none.
101.9 and 94.1.
And I appreciate the discussion.
St. Louis is number one for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
Your taxes. From deadlines to tax law changes to the latest deductions, we'll cover it all to make sure you keep that hard-earned money where it belongs, in your pocket. Listen and follow the Fox Business Tax Tips at foxnewspodcasts.com. what's happening from the Fox News Rundown.
Good morning. It's Thursday, March 13th, 2025. I'm Ted Lindner. This is the Fox News Rundown. A House-approved temporary funding bill to avoid a government shutdown Friday could fail in the Senate. Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says that Democrats are unified against it.
Schumer insists Democrats won't help.
Republicans do not have the votes in the Senate to invoke cloture on the House CR.
Republicans control the Senate, but in this case need up to 8 Democrats to break a filibuster.
And 60 votes are needed to break that filibuster. I'm Ted Lindner, and that's a look at your Fox News Rundown.
This is the Fox News Rundown.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 941 and newstalkstl.com. Colombo and Company.
A few bills out of Jeff City making news this week. We'll get an update on the Missouri legislative session Thursday from Rep. Justin Sparks at 2:20, plus Dr. Randy Tobler at 3:05.
Live and local weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros, your all-in-one gutter service team that brings years of experience and quality that's affordable right to your doorstep. We discovered Gutter Pros a few years ago when we bought our home and inherited a gutter issue that was on the road to becoming a potentially big problem, but thanks to Gutter Pros was stopped before causing any major damage. They've also repaired the siding on our home because along with gutter repair, gutter installation, and leaf protection, the Gutter Pros are also the best for siding repair and installation. Learn about all the ways Gutter Pros can help your home at gutterpros.com.
Jeffco Patriot Radio. Every week, get the stories and insider analysis of what is really happening in Jefferson County.
We are basically kind of doing a little Tim Jones radio here with a focus on Jefferson County. My co-host, Billy Crow.
We're really excited to show the people of the region everything that Jefferson County has to offer.
Jeffco Patriot Radio. If it's a big story in Jefferson County, you'll hear about it on Jeffco Patriot Radio. Sundays at noon on News Talk STL.
Tim Jones here from my great friends at Comprehensive Chiropractic, the premier chiropractic and sports performance facility in the region. How do I know? Simply put, they've helped me on many occasions. Here's another solution to your everyday aches and pains. The Studio Health and Wellness Center. Services include Pilates and yoga, both with certified instructors. I can also highly recommend the massage therapy, which is not an indulgence. It's a proven method of healing and restoration. Trust my friends at Comprehensive Chiropractic in Eureka, cchiropractic.com. That's cchiropractic.com.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you're testing your blood sugar 4 or more times per day, injecting insulin 3 or more times per day, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetic Health Hotline today.
800-515-2380. That's 800-515-2380. Paid for by U.S. Med.
The O'Reilly Update, brought to you by Seavers JCB. Visit them at their St. Peter's location.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, is home title fraud a threat to you? With one forged document, criminals can take your equity. Now, I trust Home Title Lock's $1 million triple lock protection. They provide 24/7 monitoring, urgent alerts, up to $1 million to restore your title if fraud occurs. Get a free title history report and personal title expert access, a $250 value just for signing up. Please go to HometitleLock.com, use promo code BILL250, and make sure you're not already a victim. On this Thursday, the Mahmoud Khalil story, very important. He's a former Columbia University graduate student arrested by ICE, facing deportation. President Trump said, we got to get him out of here. Now, if you believe the corrupt leftist media, Khalil is a legitimate pro-Palestinian protester, a man of conscience just speaking out against injustice. And he has that right. Khalil holds a green card and has been living in New York City legally. His wife is about to give birth. But even a casual scanning of this man's public activities shows he is an agitator, a person comfortable with a bullhorn calling for divestment from Israel. That is legal speech in America. However, there's more to this story. Receiving credentials to work or study in the USA is a privilege, not a right. And that privilege can be withdrawn if a foreign national indulges in questionable behavior, as Mahmoud Khalil certainly did. He was smack in the middle of damaging protests at Columbia University, trusty bullhorn in his hand. Nevertheless, I believe Khalil should get due process, a fair hearing in front of an immigration judge. Cases like this one should be decided by evidence that separates America from Hamas. Right, Khalil? We'll let you know what happens. Back after this. You don't wait for your car to break down before you get an oil change, right? So why wait until you're sick to get medications you need? All Family Pharmacy makes it easy. Get ivermectin, antibiotics, and more with a prescription included. No hassle. Order online and they'll ship it right to your door. Stock up now at allfamilypharmacy.com/Bill. Use code BILL10 for 10% off. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. We still have a First Alert weather day for Friday focused on evening storms. It's a level 3 out of 5 being the highest severe risk. So there's a significant threat here coming Friday evening. Until then, we do have another nice day. Thursday, a low of 51, a high of 79, partly cloudy skies. Friday is warm and windy to start. 81 will be the high. And then the evening, especially anytime after 7 p.m. through about late evening, a squall line will punch through with a threat for some damaging winds. Could even see some isolated tornadoes. So want to be alert Friday evening for a severe threat. That squall line will move in and out very quickly, so it'll dry out for the weekend. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
We were there when our nation called us to serve. We were there to write the original GI Bill and get it signed into law. When a community found itself in the middle of a natural disaster. When tragedy struck at a local school. For veterans who suffered from toxic exposure and needed a voice on Capitol Hill. And we're still serving as part of the American Legion. For more than 100 years, veterans have been strengthening our nation through the American Legion. Through programs that help our nation's youth become tomorrow's leaders by keeping the spirit of our forefathers alive and well, and by helping veterans receive the benefits they earned through their service. The American Legion will be there for the next 100 years. Learn more about how we're helping in your community at legion.org.
Everyone loves a champion. Someone whose performance puts them head and shoulders above the rest. But not all champions wear a medal or hoist a trophy. At the U.S. Center for Safe Sport, we see champions everywhere we look. In every sport, on every court, we're building a foundation to ensure all athletes are safe, supported, and strengthened. We believe abuse can be prevented by taking a hard look at how we coach, how we train, and how we interact after the last whistle. We have provided over 2 million safe sport trainings. At the U.S. Center for Safe Sport, ending abuse is not just our job. It's our promise.
Thanks for taking my call.
News, analysis, opinion.
Radio news junkie.
Love every bit about it.
News Talk STL. Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Let's get the day started right. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
It may be a little early to start talking about the 2026 elections, but
Is it ever too early to talk about throwing Sam Page out of office? I don't think so. So we're going to do that just a little bit later on today. Hey, good morning. Mike Ferguson here. Thanks for making News Talk STL part of this Thursday morning. Councilman Dennis Hancock, former mayor of Fenton, now county councilman here in St. Louis County, obviously. He raised his hand and said, I'm in. He's the first Republican to want to challenge Sam Page in next year's election. And if there's ever been anybody we have got to get rid of out of office, that's it, Sam Page. So at 7:05, Councilman Hancock is going to be with us. Now, keep in mind, in order to do this, he is giving up re-election in a race that he probably would have won without too much problem. So he's really taking a chance here as well. So 7:05, Dennis is going to be with us. All right, on Wednesday's program, had a really informative conversation with our Secretary of State, Denny Hoskins, on the Missouri side. There's been some news coverage of his deciding to suspend payments to the contractors who run basically the online library system for the state of Missouri. Well, it turns out that there were worries and there were rumors and there were some cases where people are saying, hey, kids are using that to get a hold of explicit material, get a hold of pornographic material through the state system. So the Secretary of State says, you know what, we're going to deal with that. And he's telling these vendors, tell us what you're doing to protect kids from this. And we got the update from him. Like I said, on Wednesday's program, here's what he had to say.
Interesting happening. Of course, it's being kind of overshadowed in the news by a lot of the legislative stuff and whatnot. But get this. Here's a headline from the Missouri Independent. Missouri Secretary of State withdraws state funding of digital library catalog. And of course, anytime that there's something to do with the libraries, the left and the media, they want to jump all over it. Oh, those darn Republicans, they don't want people to read. Okay, but what's happening here is that it looks like some kids are using the digital online or the digital library in order to access, or they are able to access explicit stuff, and we might need some more safeguards. We're joined right now by Missouri Secretary of State Denny Hoskins, and so we're not talking about canceling out access to online materials, Denny. We're talking about this was brought to your attention, and basically you've put the brakes on this. What do we know about what's happening right now?
Yes, we launched an investigation when this was brought to our attention over, I believe that was last week, and you described it very well. We just have some library apps that are used by kids that kids have access to inappropriate materials. And so we launched an investigation, and we said, hey, I'm very clear, there will be no taxpayer dollars coming through the Secretary of State's office that's going to fund access for kids to have inappropriate material. I've used the example, hey, you wouldn't take your 10-year-old daughter or granddaughter to a rated R movie, would you? And people say no. I said, well, it applies to books and ebooks as well. You should not, our 10-year-old daughters and granddaughters shouldn't have access to inappropriate material that's meant for adults. And so, yes, we put a pause and suspended funding until Overdrive, the kind of app provider, the app resource, comes back and says, hey, this is our platform. Kids can't have access to that, and they have to enter in their age and different information in order to validate that they are an adult.
Good morning, Gabe Pfeiffer here. I just wanted a little more explanation about the digital library system to begin with, because I'm one of those old school library guys. I remember the Dewey Decimal System and actually picking up books in physical copies.
There's a lot of gray in his beard.
There's a lot of gray in my beard. But so I think a lot of us out here are saying, well, what do you mean digital library and app access, and what is all this, and what's the purpose of it? How does it work? And begin with, and then
this is a third party, I think, that's contracting with the state, right?
And who's running the thing?
They are. Well, we still do have the Dewey Decimal System. I certainly remember. I remember that dinosaur of a way of cataloging books as well. But so the funding from the Secretary of State's office, we fund a source called Overdrive that our public libraries can access, and so through that Overdrive system, patrons at public libraries as well as school libraries can download different ebook apps. And so when we talk about ebooks apps, either reading a book on your cell phone or iPad or computer through that app, or it could be an audio book through that app. And so we found when we launched our investigation that some of those apps that approved apps like Sora and Libby, there could be access, kids could have access to inappropriate materials through those apps when they want to read a book on their cell phone or on their iPad or on their computer. And that's what we're going to put a stop to. So that's why we've asked Overdrive, hey, what controls do you have to make sure that kids don't get inappropriate material? And so it's the outpouring has been very positive. We've had some folks call and or reply on media, hey, stop banning books. This has nothing to do with banning books. It just means like, hey, kids shouldn't have access to material that's meant for adults. And I think I saw we had one voicemail that came through my office, and some lady was just very irate and yelling like it's let my kids have access to porn. It's not, we didn't elect you to do this. And sometimes I wonder about these folks, like, are you actually listening to yourself? No. You want kids to have access to porn? I mean, that doesn't make sense. I don't know any good parent that thinks that that's a good idea.
Yeah. And even if they went that route, don't make the taxpayers pay for it.
Right.
That's do that. Has there been a reaction or been a response from these vendors, who are running these apps for the state? I mean, what have they said? Because are we talking about they just didn't have the safeguards in place, or there are workarounds because some of these kids are really clever and they can get through this stuff quicker than some of us grownups can?
They are. We've not had a response back from them. I'm hopeful that they will respond back and say, hey, yes, we reviewed our systems of internal controls and we've instituted these safeguards that we put in place. And so, yes, it will be difficult, if not almost impossible, for kids to get access to adult related material. And so I'm hoping that that's what they come back with, but we're still waiting on their response.
See, and this is one of the interesting things. We're visiting with Missouri Secretary of State Denny Hoskins right now, is that there's probably somebody out there who's listening or watching us right now who says, well, wait a minute, if it's a state system, why are these materials even on there in the first place? But you do have court precedents to deal with, and you do have First Amendment issues, and there's going to be something that I wouldn't read or I may not like that's going to be on there. But how do you work with these vendors and say, here are the limits to what's available at all? And then, of course, who decides what's going to be unavailable to kids?
Yes. And so I think that's kind of the $1 million question there. And what I've proposed, like I mentioned before, is have a system just like you rate movies. I mean, there's certain things in a PG movie, a PG-13 movie, a rated R movie. And so if it's not appropriate to see in a movie for a 15-year-old, then, that book should be kind of on the R-rated list or an adult-themed book that only adults can check out. And so that's one of the systems that I proposed.
I'm actually surprised that a system like that doesn't already exist. You would think that it, given the variety of books you can get at the library. I mean, we were just joking about some things that guys might not want to cop to, and reading Harlequin novels was one of those things. But those can be really explicit books. I wouldn't want any kid going into the library and being able to pick one of those up, even though it's available maybe for other people. So is there a system already in place for some of this that can simply be adapted?
Not that I'm aware of. Senator Bratton did pass a bill, and this has been, I think, 2 years ago, relating to paper books, and said, hey, that there's a way to challenge those books. So if you go into a library and you see books that are adult themed and adult related and they're accessible to kids, there is a challenge system that you can go through the Secretary of State's office, our state librarian, as well as the local library to challenge those. Now, since that's been instituted with the prior administration of Secretary Ashcroft, we have not had any challenges once you put that rule in to say, hey, if you provide access to kids in non-age appropriate books, adult-themed books, then, hey, we will withhold some of the funding that comes to the Secretary of State's office for those paperback books. But for the most part, the vast majority of libraries have cleaned up their act and said, hey, we agree with that. Are there a few outliers out there? Most certainly, yes, there are. And we're always, when we get a challenge, call of a challenge or a phone call or email, then we look into that and investigate.
Okay, so what's next then? Is it just a matter of waiting on the vendors to respond and give you an answer? Because in the meantime, they're just not going to get paid until something is sorted out and settled on this. So is there a formal next step, or is it just a wait and see what they do?
I think right now it's a wait and see to what they come back with. And if there's no response, which I hope that they will at least have a response. And like I said, my main goal is they come back and say, hey, we've got these safeguards we had in place. We're adding these additional safeguards to make sure that any appropriate materials is not available to kids. So I think right now it's a wait and see. I think the next payment to that ebook app source comes up at the end of March. And so then I guess once they don't receive the check from the Secretary of State's office, that will force their hand to do something.
All right. The Secretary of State, Denny Hoskins. Denny, really appreciate you being on the program to update, because I know once we see a story like this, there's so many moving parts. You got the First Amendment side of this. You've got the default to the freedom, the literary freedom, and all that sort of thing. But then you've also got there's got to be parameters somewhere, especially when it involves kids. And far be it from me to accuse the mainstream media of not telling the full story, but I figured we should get it directly from you in the meantime. So Thank you so much for filling us in on that.
Yes, thanks for having me.
And you can, of course, find that discussion on the News Talk STL podcast. Just go to newstalkstl.com, or make sure that you've subscribed to our podcast. You can subscribe to the station, or you can just subscribe to Mike Ferguson in the morning and easily share all of those discussions. All right, we got a lot to cover here. 314-912-1019. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Subscribe and watch your favorite News Talk STL shows. Mike Ferguson in the morning, The Vic Porcelli Show, Colombo and Company, Jones and Arps. Webcam streaming on Facebook, Twitter, Rumble. Subscribe and watch News Talk STL.
Hungry for the best steak you'll ever have? Head to the heart of Moscow Mills and discover Harry J's, a local landmark and family-owned steakhouse, serving up excellence since '98. From mouth-watering appetizers to decadent desserts, Harry J's has something for everyone. Enjoy our extensive bar selection while soaking in our friendly family atmosphere. Whether dine-in or carry-out, your meal is prepared to perfection. Make the drive to 300 Main Street and treat yourself to a taste of Moscow Mills' finest. Harry J's, more than a steakhouse. We're a tradition.
Attention all gun enthusiasts, don't miss your chance to win an unforgettable Saturday with Gun Show Craig at the Gun Show Show's first annual machine gun shoot and tank ride. Simply by attending each of the 3 upcoming gun shows, Big St. Charles County gun shows in March and May, and the Big St. Louis gun show in April, you'll be entered into a limited chance to win this incredible experience. Shoot various machine guns, plus you'll get to ride in a real tank. Attend all 3 gun shows for up to 3 chances to win the Gun Show Show's annual machine gun shoot and tank ride. More info at bkpromotions.us.
Craving something twisted, something deliciously different? Philly Pretzel Factory in Baldwin is your ticket to pretzel heaven. We're not just talking regular pretzels. We're talking out-of-this-world pretzel creations and mind-blowing pretzel pizza. Don't get yourself in a knot searching for the perfect snack. We've got party trays, specialty items, assorted pretzel tins, plus our legendary dips. Philly Pretzel Factory in Baldwin. Online at phillypretzelfactory.com.
The Laborers International Union of North America, Local 110, was formed in 1933 and from the beginning has strived for progress and the well-being of others. The laborers of Local 110 are hardworking men and women who take pride in their great work. They are the fastest growing union of construction workers and one of the most effective unions representing plants and quarries. Laborers Local 110 has the best medical benefits, pension, education, and heavy construction training in the market. Visit lu110.com and start your future today.
I heard the call to serve, so I answered. I earned a title and discovered my purpose. I found belonging, an unbreakable bond with my fellow Marines. We fought to overcome adversity together in defense of our nation and its people. I've lived a full life, rich with meaning. And even though I no longer wear the uniform, I am still a Marine. My service has come full circle. I will always look after those around me. I will always uplift and support my country and my community. Because that is the promise I made. That is what it means to be a Marine. Semper Fidelis. Always faithful, always Marine.
If you have a phone, you have a radio. Download the News Talk STL app and listen anytime, anywhere.
Hi, this is Mark McCloskey. Check out my show, Mark McCloskey on Fire, Sunday afternoon at 5 here on News Talk STL. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
So did you catch that eclipse, Mike?
I did not.
I didn't either.
No.
I set my alarm at 2:15 and I realized, wait a minute, I think I'm missing it already because I think it was 1:28 our time.
Oh, okay.
2:28, I think, or somewhere around
Maybe
there
that
for
was Eastern time.
Mhm.
Got it. Yeah. No, I did not. And isn't this also the time when like a bunch of the planets are in line at some point as well?
That was a couple weeks ago.
Oh, okay. So
you missed that one too.
I did. Yeah. I don't feel like I don't feel like my life was impacted by that.
Doesn't seem like
but
it.
No, eclipses are kind of cool. But
yeah, lunar eclipse,
yeah, those are
solar
kinda cool,
eclipse.
yeah,
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I imagine so. I want to get to another weather question for you here in just a second. By the way, it's 5:52 here on this Thursday. Resigning in disgrace. We've got more information about this bizarre situation in the Rockwood School District.
Oh, my.
It has come to a conclusion, basically. Hey, don't forget our new and improved station app. You can access basically everything from podcasts to, it is CarPlay compliant. It does play nice with your CarPlay. You can message us directly through a text or voice to be a part of the program through the app. You can even use that to call the studio directly as well. So check that out. And if you've already downloaded the News Talk app, you might need to hit the update on it. But go ahead and make sure you got that. It's really, really cool. You do not have to sign up or give any personal information to use the app. Now, there are some features that you would need to sign up for and like give a email address and stuff like that. But you do not have to give us any personal information to use that app. And for the areas where you do have to do something, just put in bogus information. It's fine. Don't worry about it. You
Some
still
folks
use
do
it.
that.
Yeah,
Sure.
I don't blame you. All right. Real quick. We still have a storm moving through.
Yeah. Friday night.
About what, 36 hours from right now or something like that?
Yeah, that would be
right?
fair to say. Boy, that's a lot of math there. Yeah, you're right. About 36 hours. Friday, be weather aware Friday afternoon, maybe around 5 p.m. until midnight.
Okay.
Here in the metro area.
And we're talking one line. You were trying to explain to me earlier. One line, but really freaking intense.
It seems to be that way. Most of the weather folks in the Midwest have leaned towards a squall line.
Now explain what that means.
Squall line would be a long, thin line of intense storms.
Okay, got it.
And it would stretch sometimes from Wisconsin or southern Canada all the way down to Texas.
Wow.
And this will be sort of like that. And it's going to move through Probably pretty fast because we're looking at anywhere from 50 to 70 mile an hour winds with this storm system.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Now that's as opposed to the great big red blob on the map that will affect us for hours and hours and hours.
That's right.
This is one, just take your punch in the mouth and just be done with it, as opposed to getting pummeled for a long time. Is that kind of weather-wise like that?
So be awake 5 p.m. till midnight tomorrow night.
And if you want to go to sleep, it sounds like this storm will wake you back up.
It may.
Good
point. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so we're going to go into a little more depth on this a little bit later on. Izzy Emig, the Rockwood School District. We know a little bit more about what's happened at both of those Target stores, according to the police, at least what the accusations are. But she has resigned now from the Rockwood Board of Education. Now, here's the thing: is she's up for re-election this year. And she's now stated she does not want to be a candidate anymore. She doesn't want to be on the school board for obvious reasons. However, it is way too late for them to remove her name from the ballot. So it is, in theory, possible that she could get reelected and then would just have to decline to take the office. But the reality is I have a feeling that nobody's going to vote for her anyway on that. So here's what happened. We know on the first situation with the Target store that we have a little bit of a police report on that. And she was using the self-checkout counter or the self-checkout area and then did not scan a vacuum cleaner. But it turns out, according to police, that she was actually stopped by the loss prevention. And then she went back to scan the stuff that she was walking out of the store. So they let her go back to scan it. And that's when she didn't scan the vacuum cleaner and then left with it anyway. And then a few days later, she was stopped by loss prevention at another Target store in the county. And basically she tried to walk out with a bunch of stuff. And they say that basically she requested, well, just let me go back and pay for it. And they're like, yeah, no, that's not how that works. And so then she was sent a citation. Now, the first time it looks like she was actually arrested, booked, and then released and given a summons. She's going to have a court date. And the second one is they just stopped her. And then she's receiving a citation from the police there. So very strange because the first time she had like $700 worth of stuff and she just went back and paid for it. So it's not like she didn't have the money. And then she didn't pay for this one thing. And so I don't know what's going on. She says she's resigning for personal and health reasons. So I don't know what that means. But the bottom line is that she's resigning health and personal reasons is what she cited. So she's no longer a member of the school board. This is frustrating to a lot of us who know the importance of getting conservatives on these school boards in particular. And this was one of the first wins that we had back in 2022. And something's happened. And Izzy Emig is absolutely not qualified to be on there anymore. She did a good job for a while. And then this. It's going to make it harder to elect other conservatives.
Boy, it sure is. What a sad way to end the story.
Yep.
Southern Armory is closing its doors on March 21st, and as a way to say thank you for making them your hometown gun store for the last 15 years, they're having a clearance sale with prices you'll never see again. Guns, knives, ammo, holsters, magazines, and more. Prices slashed on everything while supplies last. One more amazing offer from the great team at Southern Armory. Don't miss it. Southern Armory, 1 mile east of 270 and 44, 9901 Watson Road, and southernarmory.com. That's southernarmory.com.
Seavers JCB, a trusted leader in agriculture and construction. Connect with SeaversJCB.com and browse their inventory or stop by and let them show you the capabilities of the JCB lineup. Telebooms, skid steers, loaders, forklifts, excavators, backhoes, and more. JCB has pushed diesel to its limits with machines that now emit 50% less CO2. JCB's new Icon software system will blow your mind, offering iConfigure, iConnect, and iControl. Learn more at SeaversJCB.com.
Psst. Want to hear the best kept secret in St. Louis? Staff's Pizza. We're not afraid to compare squares. According to our customers, we have the best St. Louis style pizza anywhere, and we can't disagree. Dine in, pick up, or delivery at all 3 Steph's Pizza locations. In Lake St. Louis at 111 Potterford Trail, St. Peter's on Juggerman, and in St. Charles on Zumbell. Check us out at Steph'sPizza.com. Steph's Pizza. We're not afraid to compare squares.
Hi there, Chris Cooper here, Serenity Wealth Management. Joining me in studio for the Serenity Wealth Now radio show this week, we've got Lindsay Grillo of Birdies and Barrels and Grillo's Chop and Barrel out in Lake St. Louis. We're going to talk about hobbies. We're going to talk about fun. We're going to talk a little bit about golf and some whiskey and making sure that you enjoy the lifestyle you deserve. Tune in this week, Sunday morning, 9 a.m., right here on News Talk STL.
Serenity Wealth Now with Chris Cooper, Sunday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Facing a midnight Friday deadline, Senate Republicans hope today's the day they'll pass a bill to avoid a government shutdown, but they'll need some Democrat votes to do it.
Senator Marsha Blackburn says Democrat leader Charles Schumer is fighting against the continuing resolution because he would prefer a government shutdown.
He feels like it would hurt President Trump and it would hurt the Republicans.
But Blackburn says gone are the days when a shutdown was automatically blamed on the Republicans.
The American people agree with the steps that we're taking.
Blackburn tells the Salem Radio Network she expects enough Democrat support to pass the CR and keep the government up and running. Bob Agnew reporting.
Amid concern that environmental regulations are strangling energy development and the overall U.S. economy, EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin is taking action.
The Environmental Protection Agency is initiating 31 historic actions to fulfill President Trump's promise to unleash American energy, revitalize our auto industry, restore the rule of law, and give power back to the states.
Zeldin says these historic actions will roll back trillions in regulatory costs and hidden taxes on U.S. families. The Russian Defense Ministry claims its forces have now driven the Ukrainian army out of the biggest town in Russia's Kursk border region. This development comes as the U.S. awaits the Kremlin's response to a proposed 30-day ceasefire in the three-year war. It's a truce that Ukraine has endorsed. Russia says it needs more information before deciding what to do. Secretary of State Rubio has arrived in Canada. It's a two-day G7 meeting. Tariffs expected to place high on the agenda at that session. Watching Wall Street this morning, Dow futures are up 37 points. The NASDAQ futures 5 points lower. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out collection letters, garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it even harder to get out of debt. Don't let tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in taxpayer assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Let them fight on your behalf, helping to put your tax problems to rest. Call the tax professionals at Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. We still have a First Alert weather day for Friday focused on evening storms. It's a level 3 out of 5 being the highest severe risk. So there's a significant threat here coming Friday evening. Until then, we do have another nice day. Thursday, a low of 51, a high of 79, partly cloudy skies. Friday is warm and windy to start. 81 will be the high. And then the evening, especially anytime after 7 p.m. through about late evening, a squall line will punch through with a threat for some damaging winds. Could even see some isolated tornadoes. So want to be alert Friday evening for a severe threat. That squall line will move in and out very quickly, so it'll dry out for the weekend. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Piccadilly Palace, located in Union, Missouri. The ultimate family fun center is Piccadilly Palace. Call 314-860-6418 or visit piccadillypalace.com.
Parents want more choices rather than fewer when it comes to their children's education. And now some Missouri parents will have one more option to get their children the best education available. Low-income students and those with disabilities in Missouri's largest communities can now apply for an Empowerment Scholarship Account, or ESA. With an ESA, the money the state would normally pay to your child's public school goes into an account that you control. You can use the funds for private school tuition, online learning programs, a private tutor, or other approved uses. You can tailor your child's education. For too long, Missouri officials have operated on the mistaken notion that parents only need one choice. They're assigned public school based on their address. ESAs put parents in charge. It's school choice at its best, with money following the students to the place that best fits their needs. Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. This Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
All the information I need on the drive to work.
Mike Ferguson in the morning. I keep it on throughout the day, whether it's local, national, or something big that's happening overseas.
News, analysis, and opinion.
St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
Mike Ferguson.
It's a miracle we're not in prison.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
Are you kidding me?
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm? Get up, St. Louis.
Yeah, it's kind of a thing.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! Get up! This is your cousin God.
Good morning to the people of St. Louis.
Before we jump into the news here,
say your math was wrong.
I'll do a quick eclipse update. I had the wrong day when I went straight up. Was nice enough online to point out it's tomorrow morning, you doofus. Well, he didn't say you doofus. I added you doofus. So it's
what
Friday morning.
That going to be at what time?
1:20. He's got 1:26, and I think when I went straight up is correct on that.
Okay, so basically that means none of us are going to see it.
No, I'm not doing that.
Exactly. All right, it is 6:06 right now. State lawmakers, to be fair, of both parties and the governor agree it's time to end the failed experiment of letting the city run its own police department. I've got the update for you. An area school board member steps down in disgrace. We've just had the update on that. Gabe will fill you in. And maybe the Democrats will give me my government shutdown. Maybe.
I doubt
maybe. You may say, why would they do that?
Uh-huh.
Because they hate Donald Trump.
Well, that's
pretty much it.
That's a given.
I think the Republicans should play along.
And they've all gone home.
Yes.
So it's in the Democrats' corner.
I'm going to explain why I think that the Republicans should let the Democrats have a, let me use air quotes, win here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now it's 6:07. Let's go ahead and dump some news on you.
The morning news dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks. The morning news dump.
All right, a state commission will assume oversight of the St. Louis City Police Department this year. On Wednesday, the State House, as expected, passed the crime bill to end local control of the department. Governor Kehoe has already said he's going to sign that bill into law. The mayor will be one of the commissioners, and the governor will appoint the rest of the members. Mayor Tashara Jones says she's going to fight the change, but she's not outlined exactly how she's going to do that just yet. When the governor is going to sign that into law, I don't know. But once he signs it into law, the mechanics of it are in motion, and he's going to have 90 days to nominate the commissioners. The mayor automatically will be a commissioner, whoever the mayor is at the time. And then the state Senate will need to confirm the rest of the commissioners.
All right. Yeah.
All right. There is a debate that's going to happen between soon-to-be former Mayor Tashara Jones and soon-to-be Mayor Cara Spencer.
We're just calling it
just
right now.
like it is.
Is this the earliest election call ever in the history of ever?
It's like we're eliminating the middle woman.
The middle woman.
That debate happens this evening. Channel 2 is going to host this one. It's not going to impact anything. I don't know why it's going to. Why I'd go out of my way when there are sports on TV if you want to watch something. But in case otherwise, it starts at 7:00. It's going to be on Fox 2. Mayor Tashara Jones is backed into a corner. I have a feeling she is going to be swinging for the fences.
Oh, yeah.
Claws
are coming out. I guarantee it.
Oh, man. All right. From being one of the highlight conservative wins in 2022 to resigning in disgrace. Rockwood School Board member Izzy Emig has resigned after being cited by police in 2 cases where she's accused of trying to steal from 2 different St. Louis County Target stores. In both cases, police say Emig tried to leave without scanning multiple items at the self-checkout. Her name will still be on the ballot next month, but she has ended her campaign for re-election.
This is not only is it a bizarre story, it's kind of a sad story too,
very,
because she kind of came in as the conservative rock star
Right.
in the local school board races and things like that. She was doing some good work exposing what the left was doing to indoctrinate and kind of groom our kids.
And can I just jump in on one thing and then pick up right where you left off, because you just said she came in as the conservative rock star, which is 100% true, but she was the best kind of conservative rock star because she didn't care about being a rock star.
Right.
And we're like, this is the type of person we need to elect. And she, like you were just saying when I rudely interrupted.
No,
she was getting the work done.
Yeah, and it was going really well. She was kind of the kind of the poster child for the types of person we wanted in there. And then all of a sudden, this thing happens, and citing the idea that she's resigning because of her like mental health or her personal health or things like that. She said health and personal reasons. I get this feels like kind of a mental breakdown situation. It's like you just. Something happens, you just start stealing stuff. I don't know. It's really weird. It's sad, but she definitely does not deserve the spot that she currently has.
Absolutely. You give her credit for the work she did right up front.
Yep.
Because there were a lot of things that were purged out of those libraries that were just full on sexual grooming of children. It was disgusting. But you're right. At this point, this is not an example for young people.
Yep.
So she's doing the right thing by resigning, and even though her name will be on the ballot, you'll be doing the right thing by not voting for her.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. All right. House Republicans, of course, passed the continuing resolution to keep the government funded at the previous Biden levels through September. The bill now goes to the U.S. Senate, but here's the thing. The Senate has said, nope.
Oh,
no way. Now the Senate, I say Senate, I mean the Democrats.
The Democrats in the Senate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So Chuck Schumer criticized the bill, and he outlines the plan that the Democrats are going to follow.
Republicans do not have the votes in the Senate to invoke cloture on the House CR. Our caucus is unified on a clean April 11th CR that will keep the government open and give Congress time to negotiate bipartisan legislation that can pass.
First of all, there's no such thing as bipartisan anything in Congress right now.
No.
Secondly, I think the Republicans should let the Democrats have their so-called win, not just because I might get my government shut down.
I mean, it is very tempting.
If I get my government shut down, it's because the Democrats gave me my government shutdown.
Yes.
I'm good with that.
That's okay.
Go Chuck. Go Chuck. Go Chuck.
Okay, so you have to explain to the people why this is a good thing for the Republicans.
Exactly.
Because typically it's, regardless of who's in charge, the Republicans get the blame.
Republicans will be blamed.
The media goes in. It's like, oh no, the skies is falling.
Yes.
Grandma's not going to get her Social Security check because of the Republicans. That's usually the narrative that's being sold.
Even though grandma was born 150 years ago. Okay. So here's the thing. Is that let the Republicans go, oh, no, we tried. Look at those Democrats. Media is going to blame the Republicans unfairly. We all know that. But we still get to the point after a few days or a week or 2 weeks where most of America looks around and goes, this doesn't affect my life. Maybe we really don't need all this government or programs. Maybe that Doge is onto something.
Maybe. And then isn't it odd that we don't hear, at least not very much, about the last one, which I think was 2018, somewhere in there. It was about a 35-day government shutdown when Trump was in office back then. We don't hear anything about that.
You remember how that affected your life, right?
No.
Right. Exactly.
Because it didn't.
Exactly. And then before that, during the Clinton administration, there was a shutdown.
Yep.
And the media tried to tell us the world was ending, and a whole lot of people were looking around going,
it's fine.
I'm fine.
Now, the Obama shutdown was hilarious to me because that administration tried desperately to make it the worst thing ever in the history of the universe by closing public parks and putting concrete barriers in front of roads through forests. Because, hey, the forest management people aren't around, so you can't drive through the woods.
The funny part was when they put like tape around the Washington Monument, and they were like, we can still see it. It's right
there. We can't go up in the arch?
Yeah.
What?
And then, of course, some of the most disgusting things was there's like, oh, yeah, see, we know we have World War II veterans flying in possibly for the last time in their lives to come and pay homage to their fallen brothers at the
honor
wall.
flights.
Honor flights. We know that that's happening, but we're not going to let them on the public grounds,
right?
Because nobody's going to be there to monitor them. Like, what do you? They tried to make it hurt, and it just showed them for
so
who they are.
Republicans do the feigning, back of the hand up against the forehead. Oh no, don't do this, Democrats. I can't believe it. Let them do it. All right. President Trump not backing away from his tariff policies, despite the downturn in the markets of recent.
In the face of tumbling stock prices and increased worries about a recession, the White House says the president is unwavering in his approach to tariffs and trade. Asked about the recent Wall Street losses, the president said markets are going to go up and down. He went on to say that he believes what his administration is doing is the right thing to do, even if it means a little, in his words, disturbance. Greg Clugston, Washington.
And the Commerce Secretary says that the tariffs are likely going to be added onto copper imports now, and it looks like we're about to start a trade war with the European Union.
I don't think
Mexico, Canada, and China isn't enough.
I don't think we produce copper here.
Not that I know of,
Yeah,
but
so-
he wants to.
Okay. Well, I don't think we have copper deposits in America. That's the problem.
Because we had all the hubbub a couple of weeks ago about getting rid of pennies.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there was that.
we
I
don't have
suppose.
copper to take care of that.
Yeah, we don't have copper. So if we are going to use copper, we need to import it. And by the way, we use copper for things like wires.
Yeah. Yeah.
And wires are in everything.
Yes, it's in your car, it's in your house, it's in your, and that's the thing, steel and aluminum. The short-term focus is on, we want to manufacture those here. Those are used. That's going to drive up the cost of everything that uses metal, everything. So, while you can look at we want the jobs here. Okay. There's probably, 5,000-10,000 jobs here. We're talking about increasing the price of just about, frankly, everything. All right. The Mets beat the Cardinals in spring training on Wednesday. Miles Michaelis went 5 innings, only gave up 1 run in those 5 innings. That's a good outing. It is hard to win, though, it turns out, when your team does not score any runs.
Yeah, it is a bit tough.
Yeah, final in Jupiter was 2-0. Redbirds play the Astros this afternoon at 12:05. FanDuel has that game. And after several days off, the Blues are back on the ice tonight. They are in Pittsburgh to play the Penguins, obviously. That is a 6 p.m. game that is also going to be on FanDuel.
Making cold mind to fight your war. Stop it right now.
For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com.
Indifferent. Stop it right now.
Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Get up. Can't you hear the alarm? Get up. This is your cousin. Get up. What are you waiting for?
It's that time of season when families, businesses are moving. For local or long distance, I endorse McGuire Moving. Get a date set soon before the schedules are booked. 314-241-0600. 241-0600. McGuire is constantly giving back to our veterans, such as support dogs for our brave. So with McGuire, you're getting excellent service and helping our vets. McGuireMoving.com.
Let's get together and celebrate our great victories. Tim Jones here, inviting you to join News Talk STL and all of our conservative friends on Friday, March 21st at Old Hickory Golf Club in St. Charles for the Lincoln Trump Dinner. Cocktails, dinner, lots of great speakers, and more. Log on to stcharlesgop.com for details and to purchase tickets. The 2025 St. Charles County Lincoln Trump Dinner, March 21st, stcharlesgop.com, stcharlesgop.com.
Attention St. Charles, looking for a local spot that satisfies all your cravings? Mario's Donut Restaurant is your place to go for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. From mouth-watering sandwiches and omelets to delicious gyros, Mexican dishes, salads, and wraps, we've got it all. And don't forget our famous donuts. They're so good, they'll make your eyes glaze over. Dine in or carry out, our friendly staff is ready to serve you with love and care. Mention News Talk STL when you visit. Call 636-447-4515 or visit mariosdonutrestaurant.com.
To our brave police officers and first responders, we say thank you for risking your lives to protect us. To all the incredible volunteers who've joined hands with the David Dorn Foundation to raise funds for equipment and services, we extend our heartfelt gratitude. We stand strong with our volunteers who give their time, talent, and dedication as a shield of support for those who rush into danger. The David Dorn Foundation gives a big thank you from our heart to yours. Visit dornfoundation.com and join as a volunteer.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hi, it's Randy Tobler here. Pour a big cup of coffee and catch my show every Saturday morning from 6 to 9. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the Morning here on News Talk STL.
All right, police are looking for someone who's vandalized Afton School District property with racist graffiti. It's happened twice now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I know somebody's like, oh, well, Mike, you're finally getting around to talking about this. Yeah. I knew about the story. I was aware of it, and I didn't say anything the first time around. And that's actually, I think, part of the story. Not that I made a decision on it, but why so many people were hesitant to do something on it. Is it because we've all bought into white supremacy?
No.
I think you know where I'm going with this. Kid.
I know exactly.
And I
where
did
you're
not
going with
prep
this.
you for this, but I think I know you know where I'm going.
Oh yeah.
All right. It is 6:20 right now. Flashback Fridays tomorrow.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Wow.
Get your request in. I really haven't mentioned it a
Snuck
whole lot
right up
lately.
on us,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's coming. This week is, in some ways, it seems like it's taken forever, but in other ways, I'm like, oh wow, it's almost the weekend.
Yeah, it took 5 minutes and a week and a half at the same time.
I got a lot of baseball to play this weekend. Assuming I don't get rained down on Saturday from this big storm that comes through on Friday. We'll see how that works.
I think you'll be okay.
Yep.
And that's why I'm mixed up on eclipse dates.
That's right, which is tomorrow morning.
Okay. All right.
And if you need a wake-up call, let Stel know. He'll call you at 1:25 so you can be awake at 1:28.
Yep. Glad to provide the service.
That's right. Okay, so police are investigating two instances of vandalism using racist and white supremacist graffiti in Afton, and both of these were on school district property on this.
All right.
So here's the first one. And by the way, did you see the story on the first one?
I didn't. I haven't seen any stories on
a couple swastikas. Somebody spray painted white power.
Okay.
WITE.
No.
White. Yeah. So, Gabe,
right.
I'm just going to let you know that we're not sending our best and brightest to do the racisms.
Public schools.
No, yeah, public schools.
Department of Education.
That's what was fun. I mean, I don't mean to make light of it, but I looked at that, and the first thing I saw that, because a couple of my friends I saw on Facebook who are black, obviously taking this very, very personally, and that's where, and I get it. And so I'm like, I'm not going to point out that is that also a reflection on the public schools that he didn't know how to spell the word white, but here's the thing is we've got a second incident of this now happening. It happened early Wednesday morning at Rogers Middle School. Now there's video though of this guy. So they didn't get a super clear picture, but the suspect that they're looking for is a white male, not very tall, 5'4" to 5'8", slender build, but he was wearing like all black stuff, and kind of his face was partially covered.
All right.
So it's gonna be a little hard to find him, but Afton Police Department's got resources that they can do. They've used swastikas. This person, he used swastikas and things like that. They believe it's the same person who did the first one.
Okay. All right. And it's actually a white guy this time.
It's actually a white guy. Okay. See, that's the point. See, because the first
without the H.
Yeah. You're right. Exactly. This
you
guy's
always drop the H.
This is a white guy. WITE. White guy. But that's the thing is, and this is, I hate that I feel like I have to respond this way because when I saw that first story, and of course, there's a hubbub over it and the media and social media, and I get it.
Right.
But I've now got a personal rule. Hold on, wait.
Yes. Keep your powder dry till the details come out.
Because so many times, including here in St. Louis, It's turned out to be a hoax that was done by someone who is a minority.
Right. So let me take you back in time to I think it was Mizzou. I think there was something on the Mizzou's campus.
There were two different things.
Two different things. There was one of them was actually perpetrated by a black student. I think I'm pretty sure.
Correct. Yes.
One was a mistake because a case of mistaken intentions because a blind person picked up, they bagged their dog's stuff and put it on the front stoop of I guess it was some sort of house, some frat house or something like that. And it was interpreted as a problem, but that's kind of what blind people are told to do with their dog stuff. So I remember that one. There was, and that might not actually be the second one because there was another one that included graffiti, right? Or something like that.
There was graffiti, and it turned out to be one of the oppressed classes.
Yeah, one of the oppressed classes.
On that.
There was even high profile ones like Bubba something or other with NASCAR. He's the one black driver.
That's right.
And he said, "Hey, there's a noose in my garage or the bay for my car." No, that's the pull chain for the garage door. You jackhole. It's like, what are you talking about? So all of those. And let's not forget Jussi Smollett.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
The poster child for the faux racism, the faux incidents that were kind of making the rounds, particularly during the Biden, Obama and then Biden administrations.
Right.
So so color me skeptical.
Right.
See what I did there?
I see what you did right there. Yeah.
Every time these things kind of come out. And I think it's indicative of the problem writ large in society that these things have been so commoditized that they have to be produced out of whole cloth, right?
Now, in this case, it looks like it hasn't, though. So
right,
now
in this case, it's actually a real thing
because we have surveillance video, and it looks like it is a racist white guy. Who either is in Afton or close enough to it that he's doing something with the school district, and so there is a legitimate reaction to this. Now, it's vandalism. It's a crime. I hope they catch the guy. I hope they prosecute him to the fullest extent that they possibly can. And the video or the picture I saw, which I think was taken from a video, kind of grainy. It's going to be a little hard. I mean, there's a lot of skinny white guys out there.
Yeah.
But most of them aren't going to go use swastikas and things like that
and misspell white.
Right. And so the school district, has responded the way you would expect a public school district, they're
apoplectic.
They're apoplectic in a huge way. They're bringing in the Anti-Defamation League to do like community meetings and stuff like this.
Geez.
I mean, first of all, the Anti-Defamation League has just become, unfortunately, just kind of a leftist organization.
Oh, yeah.
And so there
has the ACLU.
Oh my goodness. Yeah,
all
exactly.
Those guys.
So, they're assuming that everybody is wounded by the crime. Well, everybody should be upset with it. And it's bad. I mean, there's no question about that.
Right.
But if you look up a list of, race crime hoaxes, you will find a list. There are websites that have hundreds of them.
Oh, yeah.
But that's not the case here, it appears.
Right. This was an actual
You
one.
actually have a guy doing racist graffiti and crimes
doing a racism.
Yeah, he's actually doing it. So it's the real thing. And this happened a couple years ago. Remember over at Wash U, somebody was destroying some of the murals that had been commissioned.
Oh yeah.
On there. And remember, because you and I were like, let's wait and see.
Yep.
Well, it turns out it was a racist white guy.
Yeah. That actually happened.
Did it. And so we covered it accordingly on this. But the frustrating part here is that we should be able just to like put this in the news dump and lament how bad it is and put the information of the suspect out there and hope that somebody can help police prosecute the guy. But we're spending several minutes going, no, it's real this time. It's real this time. Because there's been so much Chicken Little, the sky is falling.
Right.
That a lot of people just kind of shrug and whatever. Is this the worst crime that's going to happen in Afton?
Oh gosh.
If it's the worst crime that's happening in Afton, then that you're doing pretty good, Afton, which is a blue collar thing. There are going to be worse things out there, but it's bad. Let's not discount it because I think a lot of conservatives have become so kind of jaded against the polarization of race that we don't look at. No, that's bad. And that guy really should face some harsh consequences if they catch him.
Yeah, I think the left needs to be reminded constantly that not everything is racism, but every once in a while the right needs to be reminded some things are actually racism.
Yes. Yep. Exactly. And Corporeal being just pointing out that yes, that's correct. It is a white kid, WITE.
right. So
Yep.
he's being disowned by the white community.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So hey, maybe that's the new standard. So the racist whites are WITE white,
Right.
and the regular white folks like you guys are You're the white,
Right.
with the H.
See,
white.
That's right.
Wheatthins.
But the thing is, one of my best friends, one of my teammates and best friends, he takes all this really personally, and he and I disagree on a lot of stuff. He's more on the left. But I'm telling you, I'd go to war with this guy. I'm just telling you, I would go to war with this guy. And I wanted to send him that joke and go, hey man, WITE, it's our dumb ones that are doing this.
Right.
But when you take it you're that personally,
Yeah.
you're that upset, and he and I can have long-term rational conversations about this. He's not one of these march in the street types, but he's going to stand his ground when he thinks there's an injustice. And I respect that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But you can also see for a lot of people how personally they take it and how much, it hurts. This happened not too far from where we practice on Wednesdays and Saturdays for our baseball. I mean, it's literally like a minute down the road from where we practice. So it's really not that far. So even those of us who don't live in Afton, it's not that far away. And if, it can happen anywhere on this. So it's one of those things where, like I think you said that brilliantly, is that for the left, not everything is racism, but to the right, it's still out there.
Sometimes racism happens.
Right. Sometimes it does happen. Now, should we give it the power to change and end our lives? No. Don't give it more power than it should. But this jerk should be prosecuted as much as they can. I can't really tell how old the guy is. The video doesn't do it. Looks like a young guy. So I don't know if it's a high school guy or somebody they're 20. No idea. But scrawny white guy is the perpetrator of this. So hopefully they find him. All right. Could we actually have there's a lot of shakiness about the economy right now, but are there actually a couple good signs mixed in with the stuff that we're concerned about? The short answer is yes. So let's talk about that around 6:34 here on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
Don't come hanging round my door. I don't want to see your face no more. I got more important things to do. Spend my time going on with you. Now, woman, stay away.
Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL.
Listen what I say.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I can't rule out a spot shower today, but odds are low at only about 20%. Otherwise, our hefty dose of spring-like weather continues. Up to 81 this afternoon, partly to mostly sunny. Partly cloudy tonight, a mild low of 59. And then tomorrow, windy, partly cloudy, 81 for the high. But be prepared for severe storms with destructive winds and tornadoes also possible from about 7 p.m. Friday to around 2 in the morning on Saturday. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Mike Ferguson here. Retirement should be a time you can relax. No more stress from work. But there's one thing you can't forget about when retiring. That's your money. Do you have enough saved to fund your income for life and keep up with inflation? How will you claim your Social Security benefits? And what about long-term care? The ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel is here to help answer all of these questions. You can hear their latest views on the markets and investing during On the Money, hosted by Stifel financial advisors Bob Stockdale and Eric Robert, every Saturday morning at 9, right here on News Talk STL. They can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call 636-695-2650, 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Hungry for lunch? Head to Pop's Kitchen downtown. Monday through Thursday, 11 to 2. Grab our unbeatable $7.99 lunch special with fries. Choose from juicy cheeseburgers, Philly steak or chicken, 6-piece wings, 2-piece fish of your choice, or a savory e-roast sandwich. Pop's Kitchen downtown, 1330 Washington Avenue, where good food meets great value. Order online at popskitchendowntownstl.com. That's popskitchendowntownstl.com.
Hey, firearms enthusiast, looking for a family and veteran-owned shop with a wide selection of products and services? Head to DG Firearms, 115 Business Highway 61 North in Bowling Green. DG Firearms has been your one-stop shop for custom ARs, Cerakoting, laser engraving, gunsmithing, suppressors, ammo, and reloading supplies. DG Firearms, 115 Business Highway 61 North in Bowling Green, and online at dgfirearmsllc.com.
On the next Larry Connors USA.
Treasury Secretary Rubio says the ball is now in Russia's court. Do you want to have peace with Ukraine or continue fighting?
Larry Connors USA. Now weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
I think we should be able to have a civil conversation.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
News Talk STL.
Hi, this is Susie Moore. Check out my show, Red State Radio, Sunday afternoon at 4, right here on News Talk STL. Now it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right, there's a lot of worry about the economy right now. Some of it is there's some instability happening. Some of it is speculative. Some of it's just media driven, the usual suspects. But there are some things to be concerned about here. But there is also at least what you could say is one good sign, or is there at least one good sign at the moment as well? I want to get the whole picture, not just the stuff that favors one side or the other. It is 6:35 right now. Once again, remind everybody the News Talk STL app. It has been completely revamped and rebuilt. It has been upgraded. It is a lot of fun, and you can connect directly with this and every other live and local show here on News Talk STL by text or by voicemail or even by calling us through that app. If you already have the News Talk app, you may need to go back in and update it and just go to your app store to get the update. It might update automatically depending on what version of iPhone you have if you're on iPhone, but go ahead and double check that. And if you haven't downloaded it yet, it is still free. You can use the app without signing up and giving a bunch of information. There are some features that will need like an email address and a zip code and stuff like that. But you do not need to do that stuff to use the app at all or listen or find podcasts or anything like that. So it's all out there. All right. Joined now by Ryan Young from the Competitive Enterprise Institute. Ryan, obviously there's a lot of, bumpiness happening with the markets right now, but I want to talk inflation because that was a big part of obviously what happened with the elections. People were feeling the pinch of inflation. Inflation generally rose 0.2% in February. But that's actually one of the few things that we can look at and go, oh, wait a minute. Are we getting a handle on this? So is this at least one bright spot or positive thing in an economy that a lot of people are concerned about right now?
It was in February.
Yeah.
And the labor market's also in pretty decent shape. But I am worried going forward. And the reason is the tariffs.
Yeah.
And tariffs they're not strictly inflationary. Inflation affects all prices of everything. And tariffs affect, just the prices of the goods that they affect. A steel tariff is going to raise car prices, but it's not going to raise grocery prices. And so what we're seeing is President Trump advances and retreats with tariffs, goes through with some threats, does not go through with others. That hasn't yet hit the inflation indicators, at least it didn't in February. We'll see what happens with March and with April's data. Reciprocal tariffs, which for Trump are the big fish, are currently planned to phase in on April 2. We'll see what happens. So February's report, like you said, it went up 0.2% during the month. And over the last year, it was 2.8%. Still above our 2% target, but it's down sharply from a month ago. That 0.2 for the month is down from 0.5%, 2.5 times as much in the month of January. So if it's a little bit of relief, I will gladly take because we may have trouble ahead.
Good morning, Ryan. Gabe Pfeiffer here. So you mentioned it already that the effects of tariffs aren't necessarily the primary cause of inflation, but they have an inflationary effect. And you mentioned that they can affect indicators. Could you explain that a little bit more for our listeners?
Yeah, so steel tariffs will make car and housing prices go up because construction uses steel, so do cars. Good for U.S. Steel, bad for Ford and GM, basically. So those prices will go up, and the inflation indicators, both that the consumer price index that you see in the newspapers and the more specialized one, personal consumption expenditures that the Fed uses, both are broken down into components. And you look at car prices or housing prices, what's happening with food prices. You can break it down into different categories. You can kind of tell where the tariffs are going to have an effect and where they're not. And so far, they're not having that much effect because during the month of February, we didn't have a whole lot of tariffs phase in yet.
Yeah, because a lot of those are just kicking in officially as over the last week or so. When you look at that drop in the actual inflation itself, now we'll see, like you said, what happens moving forward. Do we know what factors contributed to that moving in the right direction?
Yeah, most of it was a fall in housing costs and a fall in energy costs. So if gas prices start going up, that's going to undo all of those gains. There are some other sectors that were going up pretty heavily. Food delivery and transportation services, not cars, but transportation services went up pretty sharply last month.
Good morning, Ryan Stalponticus here. I don't mean to be sarcastic with this question, but we saw a lot of numbers get revised over the last 4 years. A month, 2 months, 3 months later, all of a sudden numbers get revised and there's a big difference. Do you think that trend is going to continue, or will we get numbers that are closer to actual facts with the new administration?
I think that happens quite a bit with the labor market numbers. One reason, and with GDP as well. One reason for that is because they take instant snapshots and get them to the public as quickly as they can. And then they continue digging up data and then make the revisions as they go. The Bureau of Labor Statistics actually plans this out in advance and announces when they're going to put out those revisions. So while their methodology always has room for improvement, there was, even during the Biden administration, there was not any funny business going on. The other factor is that with the inflation numbers that come out, those tend not to get revised. Those are usually, because that's just done via a survey, there's not a whole lot of follow-up to do. There's, what's your business charging for things this month? They don't have a whole lot of lag time with that. So they can get a pretty good real-time picture of what's going on.
We're visiting with Ryan Young from the Competitive Enterprise Institute, and we're on the very, very front. And I mean, we could be, frankly, looking at a trade war, and now we're talking about expanding that or President Trump is talking about expanding that to the European Union on this, and Mexico, Canada, China, our biggest trade partners, already talking about adding additional tariffs. And then the president says, well, we're going to slap more on you on this. He says it's going to be worth it, even if it causes, in his words, a disturbance on this. Basically, he's saying, okay, just buckle up. We'll get through this. But in the end, we're going to have much better deals on this, and it's going to be better for our economy. What's the actual economics, economist take on that?
Oh, it's bad. Very bad. With tariffs, we're looking at a game where, whenever you put a tariff on someone, they're going to retaliate. We've had, during his first term, 4 rounds of back and forth with China. Everyone agrees China is a bad actor on trade. They need to make reforms. They steal technology. They have human rights concerns. They insist on government ownership or control of foreign investments. They've got to make changes. So Trump's approach was tariffs. We will tariff your goods unless you make those reforms. And the first time he did that, Beijing made 0 reforms. Instead, they put on retaliatory tariffs. So Trump tried round 2. Same thing. No reforms, but there was retaliation. There was round 3 and then round 4. During the Biden administration, he raised tariffs on solar panels, medical supplies, and a few other goods. And this has gone under the radar because all the other stuff. But Trump, in his second term, has already done rounds 5 and 6. And still, Beijing, 7 years into this business, has not made a single substantive reform. So whatever Trump's after, other countries are not providing it. So I think what we're learning is that with trade wars, the only way to win is not to play. Americans are paying more for imports, and our businesses are finding fewer markets for exports because of those retaliations.
And so the argument, and I heard Caroline Levitt make this on Fox News the other day, her argument is tariffs are going to make America wealthy because we're collecting all of this money from these importers from other countries. Now, I know that's basically economically illiterate, but what's the actual economic reason for that?
Well, suppose President Trump started his own import business. We'll just call it Trump Imports. If he goes to the port to collect all the goods, Trump Imports literally writes the check to U.S. Customs and Border Protection. The goods from China or wherever else they come from, those companies don't pay. They just sell it to you like anyone else does. And then the American importer, in this case, that fictional Trump Imports company, literally pays for the imports. And then because you're not going to be in business for very long if you sell your goods at a loss, they're going to pass those costs on to the consumer. So we, you and me, and all of our listeners are going to pay higher prices. So it's an economic loser. We're not going to be more prosperous. And we're going to have less foreign investment because there are fewer dollars abroad. All that money for a potential Nippon Steel investment that could reinvigorate the U.S. steel industry, those dollars wouldn't happen if we didn't buy imports in the first place and have those dollars there to invest.
All right, Ryan, just got a minute or so left here. Okay, so then moving forward, obviously, if inflation, is one factor that we could be getting a handle on, that would be obviously fantastic. What are the other key things we look for? Obviously, the tariff situation you said, but are there any sort of bright spots that we can look at and go, okay, well, maybe there is at least some good mixed in with the bad? And I think that's what's happening with the stock market. It looks to me, Ryan, like it's just more uncertainty than anything else right now.
Yeah, eventually we're going to reach some kind of equilibrium where Trump has hit all the targets he wants to hit, and he'll stop with the, announcing things, going back on some, advancing with others. What we need is some stability. If we just take a one-time hit, we'll have higher prices, companies will have to lay some people off, but then we can just adapt and continue. Until that happens, there aren't any bright spots.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I just wanted to let you know, though, that you said the only way to win is not to play. I don't know if you meant it this way, but I appreciate the reference to the 1980s classic war games.
Gotta love Matthew Broderick.
Yep, thank you, sir.
There it is.
So, Ryan, can I ask you one other quick question before we let you go? So, what is your feeling and opinion regarding companies like Apple and Taiwan Semiconductor and Honda and others making huge financial commitments to build plants here in the U.S.?
Well, in the case of Apple announcing $200 billion of investments, that's roughly in line with what they've done anyway.
Okay.
They've invested, over the last decade, they've done about $50 billion per year in investments here in America. And they're saying for the next 4 or 5 years, they're going to continue to do that. And they threw in a few bells and whistles to appeal to politicians in Washington, but all they're announcing is something they were going to do anyway to make the politics look good.
All right, to Ryan, CEI.org. And of course, we can follow you on social media where?
My Twitter handle is Reg of the Day. Reg as in regulation, and it's all one word, Reg of the Day.
All right, which we've already tagged on our social media as well. All right, Ryan, appreciate the update and the perspective. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
All right, 314-912-1019. A lot of disagreement, over all of that, and I get from a populist perspective, there's an emotional case for that, and I'm not even really doing it just to bash one policy or the other. Just understand stuff's going to start getting more expensive over the next couple of months. Even Donald Trump himself has said, prepare for that. He said it's going to be hard for a little while. He said it's going to be a disturbance. He just says it's going to be worth it. Do you agree? Do you disagree on that? I don't agree with that, but I know a lot of people do.
Sometimes it's hard to kind of really understand the cost benefit analysis of it. And right now we haven't seen the benefit. I mean, that's kind of the problem right now. It's like we've only seen costs, and we've been sold some of the benefit, possibly here and there, some, job, repatriation and things like that. But if it doesn't balance out the increased cost to consumers, I'm not sure it is worth it.
Right. But on the other hand, he's only been in office for
yeah,
50 days.
That's the thing. Yeah, it's early. It's too early to tell. I'll say it that way too. Like, to be fair, it's like I'm not judging the policy just yet by the lack of benefit. I'm just saying we're not there yet.
Yeah. But egg prices have come down a little bit.
That's nice.
Those chickens need to start popping out more of those eggs.
Actually, I've been considering doing the whole urban chicken.
There you go.
Thing. I mean, that's like two, 3 chickens. Yeah. You're good. You're golden.
Listen, I don't want to brag about my wealth, but last Sunday, I made myself 4 scrambled eggs.
Whoa!
I'm just saying.
Wow.
I don't want to be that guy who struts down the street 4 eggs. for
High
breakfast.
roller,
I'm
man.
just saying.
All right, Mr. Rolex.
Got some golden eggs there.
They were tasty. They tasted expensive.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Can you hear me calling out your name?
News, analysis,
Glad you're talking about this.
opinion.
I'm glad you're fired up about it too, because I know I am.
News Talk STL.
As someone who practiced law for nearly 20 years, I can tell you it's important to have your own attorney who can help you through all of life's transitions, assist you with all your legal needs. At Civia Law, they do just that. They specialize in helping you veterans as well with your veteran benefits. They also do estate planning, elder law, real estate, business matters, and more. The attorneys at Civia Law standing by to assist you and yours today. Check out all they've got to offer, including special online forms at civialaw.com. 833-995-WILL. That's 833-995-WILL.
History, wine, spirits, food, and music, plus an awesome name. That's the Old House in Hog Hollow. This beautiful historic home's been turned into a wine bar and event venue that can host any and all of your gatherings. Take a tour while enjoying a glass of wine and see all the original features that are still around from the 1850s. Open Thursday through Sunday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and brunch, with live music on select dates paired with wine tasting. Find them at 14319 Olive Boulevard in Chesterfield or online at oldhouseinhoghollow.com.
Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
All your hard-earned tax dollars and mine are going to fund illegal aliens who come across the border penniless, jobless, skillless, and they're given a cell phone, an identity, and a cash stipend every month.
Mark McCloskey on fire.
That beats your Social Security income if you should have the good nature to work your ass off your whole life and retire.
Mark McCloskey on fire. Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL. Brought to you in part by Modern Weapons Systems in Fenton.
Hi, Kirk Hilzinger here, and I'm the new chairman of the St. Louis Republican Central Committee. I invite you to our meetings that take place the first Thursday of every month at 3710 Hampton Avenue. You can stay connected with us to learn more about how you can get involved, make your voice heard, and contribute to our shared goals. Together, we can make a difference in the city of St. Louis and the state of Missouri. For more info, visit our new website at stl-gop.com. That's stl-gop.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer. This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hey there, Tim Jones here. Make sure you join me and my buddy Chris Arps this afternoon from 4 until 6 p.m. right here on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL. Right now, let's get back to more of Mike Ferguson in the Morning.
Oh, I'm newly calibrated. Oh, shiny and clean.
All right. State lawmakers in both parties on the Missouri side agree with the governor. Time to end the failed experiment of letting the city run its own police department.
Yep, this hasn't worked.
That era is just about over.
Pull the plug.
Yep. An area school board member steps down in disgrace. This is the end of a bizarre story and probably the last time we're going to cover it. We're just going to conclude it and I think let everybody move on with their lives at this point. And maybe, just maybe, the Democrats are going to be the ones to give me my government shutdown. I'm still holding out hope.
Cross fingers.
I'm telling you.
And your toes.
Why would they give me my government shutdown? They think they're going to get a big political win.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to end up being a loss for them. But the reality is they just hate Donald Trump.
Yeah,
that's really what it comes down to. All right, 6:52. Let's dump some news on you here.
Wake up, America. It all worked out.
They got all the news.
The Morning News Dump.
All right, it's going to happen. The state commission is going to assume oversight of the St. Louis City Police this year. On Wednesday, the State House, as we expected and told you was going to happen, they passed that crime bill to end local control of the department. Governor Kehoe has already said he's going to sign that bill into law. The mayor will be one of the commissioners, whoever that mayor is. So, it's likely going to be, because this will probably take effect around August. So Kara Spencer will be the mayor by then. The governor will appoint the rest of the members. Mayor Tashara Jones, the current, soon-to-be former mayor, says she's going to fight the change, but she hasn't outlined exactly how she plans to do that.
She's gonna yell at a camera somewhere.
Pretty much.
That's what it is.
Yeah. All right. This is bizarre and sad. From being one of the highlight conservative wins in 2022 here in the metro area to resigning in disgrace. Yeah.
Terrible.
Rockwood School Board member Izzy Emig has resigned after being cited by police in 2 cases where she's accused of trying to steal from 2 St. Louis County Target stores. In both cases, police say Emig tried to leave without scanning multiple items at the self-checkout. Her name will still be on the ballot next month because she just resigned yesterday. So it is too late to remove her name from the ballot, but she has ended her campaign for re-election. And the frustrating thing here with this, obviously, is you don't want to see anybody who's in charge of being a role model for kids and shaping education in any shape or way, get involved in something like this. So she's done the right thing in resigning. But this was one of the big wins. We pushed hard here at this show and this radio station to help get her elected in 2022. We did all we could, and she got a lot of good stuff done in that first year, 2 years. And I don't know what's happened to her. I haven't talked to her in a long time, but it's really unfortunate because I think this is going to make it more difficult to elect common sense, down to earth conservatives into positions like this.
Yeah. And that's going to have a deleterious effect on what we can do to fix schools, at whatever, level that is, because it's going to be an uphill battle for decades, essentially, for conservatives to have an effect. And every little step back that we take that's 2 steps forward. We have to make up that ground.
Right. All right. Of course, House Republicans passed that continuing resolution to keep the government funded at the status quo levels until September. Status quo being, remember, Biden administration level of spending. Now the bill moves to the Senate, but Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, he's not on board with the plan. He says Democrats are going to stop it, which means a possible government shutdown. And he says this is the plan the Democrats are going to follow.
Republicans do not have the votes in the Senate to invoke cloture on the House CR. Our caucus is unified on a clean April 11th CR that will keep the government open and give Congress time to negotiate bipartisan legislation that can pass.
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Go ahead.
And I know somebody's saying, why? You want the Democrats to get a win? In this case, yes, I do, because that's not really a win.
Yeah, I think the political calculus has changed at this point.
Yes.
It used to be that, okay, now they can along with their friends in the media have this albatross to hang around the neck of the Republicans, so say, hey, look, the Republicans they're always looking to shut down the government and disrupt your life.
Which, because that's not the case. I know that's not the case. Everybody here involved in the show, the audience, everybody who's part of the show right now, we all know it would be the Democrats doing that. Don't tell the rest. They're gonna blame the Republicans. They're gonna blame Trump. Fine, let them.
And that's the thing. I don't think even the middle of the road people believe anymore. That is like whatever the media says is like, I'm not sure that's true anyway. Like that's the reaction now. So the political calculus has changed, and like you're saying, if the government shuts down and it doesn't affect you, and you're paying it, I think the middle is paying attention on this level.
I think so.
Because they're loving Doge, they're loving all the waste, abuse, and fraud being exposed. So the idea that the government shut down and it doesn't do anything, they're gonna say, oh yeah, that's right. That makes sense.
This doesn't affect my life.
Doge is doing a good job trying to root out all these useless people, because what were we paying you for?
That's right. What this isn't changing my life. Let the Democrats have their temporary win. Let them get the government shut down. Let them point the fingers at the Republicans. Say, well, they didn't give us something we like, therefore we said no, therefore it's their fault. Because at some point, after a couple days, after a week, after a few weeks, after a month or two, your neighbors look around and go, my life didn't change.
Nothing.
The media
changed.
is telling me that I'm supposed to be screaming and wailing and gnashing of the teeth, and there's supposed to be dead bodies piled 6 feet high on the streets all over the community, and that doesn't seem to be happening. I'm going to get something to eat with my family, then going to watch my kid play ball. My life didn't change. Maybe all this downsizing is a good thing.
While we watch inflation continue to tick down.
Yes. Oh goodness. All right. Quick notes. Cardinals play who did they play today? I think it was the Marlins. No, who is it?
Play the Astros.
Astros today at 12:05, and the Blues play the Penguins at 6 tonight.
Hey, beverage enthusiasts, it's time to stock up and save at Save On Liquor and Wine, Twin Oaks. Premium whiskeys, fine wines, tasty tequilas, smooth vodkas, you name it, we got it on discount. Whether you're celebrating, relaxing, or impressing, Save On is your one-stop shop for all things liquid refreshment. 1142 Merrimack Station Road or online at savonliquor.com. Save On Liquor and Wine, Twin Oaks, where great moments begin with a perfect pour.
Hey, it's Tony Colombo reminding you to check out the annual spring sale at Bluff City Outdoors this week, March 13th through the 16th. Huge discounts on everything in the store. All your bow hunting gear, all your trapping gear, and just in time for the warmer weather, all your fishing gear. Bluff City Outdoors, 1 mile east of Fast Eddie's at 2813 East Broadway in Alton. Open 7 days a week. Come shoot in their archery range and don't miss their spring sale this Thursday through Sunday. More info at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Never paint again with Rhino Shield. Listen to what a couple of happy customers have to say.
My family's business is over 10,000 square feet, and it did not have the curb appeal I wanted. Our building was really faded. You came out, you gave me all of these options that would fit my building. I don't want to have to paint my building again. 25 years is a long time to not have to worry about the outside maintenance of your building as far as paint. That's a no-brainer. That's why Rhino Shield worked for me.
What a wonderful job they did. It's beautiful. They were very thoughtful, kind, considerate guys. Appreciate all the work that these two young men did.
Call Rhino Shield, 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Aiming to save trillions of dollars, EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin declaring war on regulatory red tape.
Today, the Green New scam ends as the EPA does its part to usher in the golden age of American success.
Zeldin taking to X to spread the word.
Wednesday, he announced nearly 36 actions he says will spur the U.S. economy by rolling back rules that have unfairly burdened industry. Many would affect landmark environmental regulations aimed at protecting clean air and water. They include rules on pollution from coal-fired power plants, climate change, and electric vehicles. Zeldin says the actions will eliminate trillions of dollars in regulatory costs and what he calls hidden taxes on families, reducing prices for buying a car, heating your home, and operating a business. Ben Thomas, Washington.
Senate Democrats may shut down the government tomorrow night.
A continuing resolution has passed in the House, but
Republicans do not have the votes in the Senate to invoke cloture on the House CR.
Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and others in the party say the bill had no input from Democrats. Texas Republican John Cornyn says Democrats talk a good game.
So I find it interesting that so many of them in the House cast a vote that would put thousands, even hundreds of thousands of federal workers out of work, which is what results when the government shuts down.
The shutdown deadline is midnight tomorrow. Ed Donahue, Washington.
Kremlin officials say a proposed 30-day ceasefire in the Ukraine war would only help Kiev by giving its military a break. However, Russian President Putin has yet to announce his decision on that proposed truce brokered by the U.S. On Wall Street this morning, Dow futures are down 95 points. NASDAQ futures off 100 points. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Heard me talk about Relief Factor and how so many people enjoy a better, more pain-free life because of it. If you're dealing with everyday pain, it makes sense you'd want to try it first. Well, Relief Factor makes that pretty pain-free too with their 3-week quick start kit for only $19.95, less than $1 a day. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain temporarily, it helps reduce or eliminate pain. Visit relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF, 800-4RELIEF for Relief Factor.
Healthcare is complicated. It doesn't have to be. If you don't love how your health insurance works, maybe it's time to leave traditional health insurance behind. Take charge of your healthcare with Christian Healthcare Ministries. CHM offers you flexibility Enroll anytime, choose your own provider, and select the program that fits your needs and budget. CHM is the original faith-based way of taking care of your medical bill costs. Learn more at chministries.org/wellness.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I can't rule out a spot shower today, but odds are low at only about 20%. Otherwise, our hefty dose of spring-like weather continues. Up to 81 this afternoon, partly to mostly sunny. Partly cloudy tonight, a mild low of 59. And then tomorrow, windy, partly cloudy, 81 for the high. But be prepared for severe storms with destructive winds and tornadoes also possible from about 7 p.m. Friday to around 2 in the morning on Saturday. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Jewels on Hampton, paying some of the highest prices for your gold, silver, diamonds, and more. Call 314-752-5000 or visit jewelsonhampton.com.
Hungry for the best steak you'll ever have? Head to the heart of Moscow Mills and discover Harry J's, a local landmark and family-owned steakhouse, serving up excellence since '98. From mouth-watering appetizers to decadent desserts, Harry J's has something for everyone. Enjoy our extensive bar selection while soaking in our friendly family atmosphere. Whether dine-in or carry-out, your meal is prepared to perfection. Make the drive to 300 Main Street and treat yourself to a taste of Moscow Mills' finest. Harry J's, more than a steakhouse. We're a tradition.
Jamie Allman here for O'Fallon Family Floors. Experience the passion. Oh, yeah. You can go in and see the best variety, the best pricing, the best quality, the best personalized service right there off of Highway K in O'Fallon, or you can have the store come to you. Oh, yeah. Brian and his team take great pride in running a fantastic flooring outlet, and you can get their 5-star ratings right there on Google. Just check it out. It's O'Fallon Family Floors, O'FallonFamilyFloors.com.
Mike Ferguson,
You play ball like a girl!
Gabe Pfeiffer,
Triple dog dare ya!
Get up, can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice. Drain the swamp and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, this is your cousin.
All right, I got one question for you.
Okay, one. You get one.
Is 2026 the year we finally kick Sam Page out of office?
Oh, gosh, please.
Do we have to wait that long?
Yeah. Unfortunately, yes, we do.
Sorry.
Okay.
All right, so we're about to hear from the first Republican, maybe the only Republican, but at least the first Republican to jump in that race with hopes of doing just that. All right, it is 7:05 right now. Don't forget, tomorrow's Flashback Friday. Be sure to send in those 80s bump music requests.
Mm-hmm.
Send them on social media. You can email Stel, email me, and then I'll turn around and email it to Stel.
When's the deadline today, Stel?
2 p.m. this afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
2 p.m. day. Get those
Because
in.
I need time.
Yep, there you go. He's got to load all that stuff up. All right, like I said, 7:06 right now. We're now joined by Dennis Hancock, St. Louis County Councilman, candidate for county executive now. Last time I talked to you, you were not a candidate for county executive. Now, Dennis, you announced over at Lincoln Days, you're going to jump in that race, which means you're walking away from your county council seat one way or the other. So you're stepping out there. You're taking a little bit of a risk. What made you decide to go, okay, instead of running for re-election on the county council, where you got a pretty good chance of holding on to that seat, you're going to take a bigger chance, challenge the Democrat in a light blue county, is how I refer to St. Louis County. What made you say, you know what, it's time to step up and go after Sam Page directly?
Well, thanks for having me on this morning, Mike. But no, you're absolutely right. I've announced that I'm running for county executive, and that I'm all in for the county executive's race. So, sometimes you try to plan things that, you run from a safe spot, but my term aligns with the county executive's term. So if I'm going to run for county executive, I've got to be all in.
Good morning, Dennis. Gabe Pfeiffer here. So, if you were so fortunate as to get in this office, to manage to end the reign of the jerk in chief over there, what's kind of the first thing on your agenda to fix county government?
Well, there's three things that I think we need to address quickly, and they're in no particular order, but I like to refer to them as the 3 C's. there's crime. Crime is still out of control in St. Louis County. It's not getting better. Our new prosecutor is working hard to do her part, but we need a county executive who supports local police, and I just don't see that coming from Sam Page. Then there's the whole issue of corruption. When you have a county executive who tries to bribe people off of the ballot, who tries to use county resources to sue the county council to get a ballot measure removed from the ballot, and then those sorts of things. We just have to stop that. We've got too many serious issues to deal with in St. Louis County. And then there's just the whole issue of competence. We have potholes all over the place. In January, the city wasn't the only government that had trouble removing snow. But instead of worrying about those things, we're worrying about rolling out a new flag. These things just don't make any sense. And it's time for us to as I like to say, to turn the page.
Now, I like that, turn the page. Now, will you change the symbol back, please?
And can we get a refund? Is there any chance, if you're fortunate enough to get an office, as Gabe put it, can we get a refund on the flag?
It's like the flag and the seal. Both of them have been ruined by this administration.
$90,000 artwork.
Yeah, well, it's typical of, we throw money away on things that we don't need, yet we can't seem to figure out how to put sprinklers in the county administration building. And we have to start focusing on basics and providing services that the taxpayers are paying for.
Good morning, Dennis Stalpontikis here. And speaking of providing services and helping the taxpayers, I have some friends who live in the county, and I constantly hear from them issues with the roads and the street department. And can't we get the roads fixed and widened, et cetera, and have some
and the potholes? My gosh.
Oh yeah. So just wondering what your perspective is on that.
No, I hear from people every day about the potholes on the streets, and so heard from somebody this week that they're driving down their a main artery in the county, and they're going from a municipality where the road is looks practically brand new to the section that's maintained by the county where it looks like it's a gravel road, and then back to another municipality where the road is well maintained. We have to do better. And we keep hearing from our county executive just what a wonderful job our employees are doing in his response to Proposition B. But to me, we have to start holding people accountable if they're not doing their jobs.
Mm-hmm. We're visiting with County Councilman Dennis Hancock in St. Louis County, who's announced that he is running for county executive. And by the way, there are a lot of people who say, okay, but Sam Page has been the executive. He's got that experience. You've been an executive. You were the mayor of Fenton for what, 12 years?
Yes, sir. 12 years. And during that time, in 2006, the state of Missouri did a survey and found out that the city of Fenton had more full-time jobs per resident than any city in Missouri. And I have an economic development background in my professional life, and to me, we just have to get back to basics. And the way we did it in Fenton was we made Fenton easy for businesses to come and do business with. It's not a hard concept. It's make your permitting process streamlined so that people aren't waiting weeks to get a permit to do a small remodel job. We just have to get back to basics and doing the things that people expect their government to do.
Well, and let me follow up there, because under the Page administration and under the guise of the whole COVID nonsense, the county literally has lost population and businesses have moved out of the county basically for fear of the county government at this point. So how do you turn that around? I know we're talking about the basic services, which I appreciate, but a lot of businesses are also saying, well, in St. Charles County, in Jefferson County, I know I'm not going to get shut down when the flu bug, runs around, right, or it's a bad RSV season or something like that. What do you establish as your priorities as county executive to people who are saying we are still feeling the sting from the shutdowns that Sam Page enforced, literally issuing stay-at-home orders, which I disobeyed, openly as well. But you've got a role of government issue here in addition to the economic development issue. I mean, it's one thing to say we're going to have great streamlined permitting process, but businesses also want to know you're not going to tell them that they're not allowed to open their doors and serve customers.
No, and you're exactly right, Mike. To me, it's government staying in its lane. You know, we shouldn't be involved in every aspect of everybody's life. It just doesn't work. So we need to do the things that we can do and do the things that government is supposed to do. When I talk about streamlining permitting processes and making it easy to come in and do business, that's exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about going out and recruiting this business or giving this business an incentive over a different one. I think we have to just, create an atmosphere where people want to be here. And if we can create that atmosphere and keep the jobs here and bring new ones in on top of it, then the population follows that. And then as we grow our population, these areas of the county that are food deserts and things like that, if people are working and they have jobs and they have a strong nucleus in those communities, then those retailers will come along, will come with it. The places that have been successful in doing economic development haven't been chasing retail. They've been chasing manufacturing jobs. They've been chasing jobs that people are wanting to come to work to do and can raise make an income, enough money to raise their families with.
That discussion about the COVID restrictions and things like that always kind of raises to me or reminds me again of one of the C's that you mentioned, the corruption of the Page administration and how many times the council and sometimes the state government has had to step in with new rules in order to restrict the power of the executive. Are there any reforms that you would be in support of for that office that you think are needed just to make sure that government runs well, regardless of who is in that executive seat?
Even if that restricts yourself, if you get elected,
Right. Well, I can tell you, I'm strongly supporting Proposition B on the April ballot, and that would do exactly that. It would take power away from the executive and share it with the legislative branch. We have too many instances where we have department heads who are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. A great example is we have a county attorney who reports to the county executive, but has entered into several different expensive contracts with outside law firms that turn around then and, for example, we have one that turned around and represented employees suing the council to take Proposition B off the ballot. Well, why are we spending taxpayer dollars on that? That shouldn't be happening. And that's where Proposition B would help to hold that person accountable. If the county executive isn't going to take action against someone like that, then the council should have the ability to do that. And so anybody that served with me when I was mayor, I like collaboration. I like it when people disagree with me because it pushes me to come up with a better solution. And I think that so often what we see with Dr. Page is he comes to us with a solution and that's it. There's no discussion after that. The new flag is a great example of that. We didn't know, the council didn't know that we had a problem with the old flag, but now we have a new one. It just those kind of things. That's not the way any organization is supposed to work.
Yeah, none of us were aware of the flag crisis that we had.
Yeah,
in the county. We were aware of the deficit and the debt that the county has because of irresponsible spending, and we're aware of that. But we didn't realize that we had a $90,000 flag and the county sealed crisis.
I had no idea
happening there as well.
Yeah.
All right, Dennis. Of course, I mean the filing and all that sort of stuff. There's a calendar for all of that, but people want to follow what you're doing. Do you have the website up, social media, anything like that? If people want to get in touch or ask you, or maybe even get involved.
Yeah, for now we're on Facebook. Dennis Hancock for County Executive. I've got a website that's up. It's a temporary website. Dennis Hancock for St. Louis County. And I think that we're going to keep getting the word out. I've been to several different Republican groups over the last week and just talking to people and trying to get out and meet as many folks as I can. and just reintroduce myself to a lot of people who may not have been following me that closely for the last couple of years.
You're going to have to win some Democratic votes to beat Sam Page. There's a lot of Democrats who can't stand Sam Page, but they're still loyal Democrats. You're going to have some of them cross over and say it's time to do the right thing for the county.
Exactly, and that's part of the plan, is to appeal to those folks who may have been Sam Page supporters at one time or have been long-term Democrats, but they see what's going on. In fact, I have several Democrat friends who are supporting me, who are saying exactly the same thing. They're not changing parties, but they just don't like Sam Page and the things that he's done, and they're looking for an alternative.
All right, Dennis.
My plan is to present myself as that alternative.
All right, Dennis Hancock, County Councilman. Thanks so much for checking in, and we'll keep tabs on this. We'll talk to you again soon. Man.
Thanks, Dennis.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
All right, 314-912-1019. And also, you can tell your Democratic friends, you're likely going to keep the majority on the county council.
Yeah.
So that's in check.
Yeah. So don't worry about any crazy conservative things happening, except county growth and
jobs coming back, and public safety getting better, potholes getting filled. I mean, that sort of thing. We can make them bipartisan pothole filling.
Exactly.
We'll give everybody credit. All right. Just when you think that the hard left can't get any weirder, along comes Illinois. There is a bill filed you are not going to believe is real. I had to look it up to the bill itself.
Okay, so you were thinking this was a Babylon Bee.
I thought it was like somebody got some bad information. Nope. One of your lawmakers in Illinois. I'm just going to leave it at that. 722. You don't want to miss this. As dumb as you think this is going to be, it's dumber.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com.
You want to give me more information? You want to take the place of what I trust? Turn on your colored box, you look for some answers.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Stop right now! I have had enough of this.
The Vic Borselli Show.
Big St. Patrick's Day parade happening in Defiance, Missouri. Who better to talk to about that? St. Charles County Councilman Joe Brazel will fill us all in on that and everything else St. Charles. Thursday at 10:41.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Hey, folks, Jamie Allman here. Exciting things are happening at the Hideout in High Ridge. Famous for the Sunset Patio, 4 big screen TVs, live music and events, and of course, the wings. The Hideout now has a brand new menu featuring handcrafted burgers and new items like their signature sunset dip and Dave's chili. And now a second location, the Hideout at Sugar Creek Golf Course in High Ridge, featuring great event space. You can stop by for lunch or dinner. The new 2025 Hideout and the new Hideout at Sugar Creek Golf Course. We'll see you there.
At Elite Comfort Experts, they don't believe in gimmicks, just guarantees. And now they're teaming up with Amana Heating and Air Conditioning to bring you a 99-year compressor and heat exchange warranty and a 10-year parts and labor warranty on a high new efficiency HVAC system. This exclusive offer is available on qualifying systems installed before April 15th. Choose integrity and quality. Choose Elite Comfort Experts. Call Elite at 636-887-0971 or visit EliteComfortExperts.com. Mention the promo code NewsTalkSTL.
Jewels on Hampton and St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler featuring Alvanza's jewel art designs with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches. Bring in your collectibles and clocks and sports memorabilia and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa, and jewelsonhampton.com. Call them at 314-752-5000, 314-752-5000, and jewelsonhampton.com. Jewels on Hampton.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk. Live and local.
I need to know what's going on in my city.
News Talk STL.
I love that you're starting your day off right with Mike Ferguson in the morning. It's your boy Joe Pags. Talk to you tonight. But now let's get back to Mike.
I got to give you guys a heads up here real quick.
What's
I'm not
that?
sure if I can make it to the end of the show.
Why?
I just found out Rosie O'Donnell's leaving the country.
Yeah, that's right. She's fled.
Oh,
she's fled.
Are
fled
you
the country.
okay? Are
I'm
you
not
okay?
sure. I'm really
Yeah,
not sure. I, don't know.
Yeah, I mean, gosh.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna have to monitor Stell's condition here because
she's fled to Ireland.
That hit him real hard, man. You can tell. You can see it on his face, man.
Wait a minute. O'Donnell, Ireland.
Yeah, there you go.
Ireland,
She fled to Ireland.
Oh, I get it now.
But the people I've seen, she has fled as though she's a refugee.
Yeah.
Because she says she's gone to Ireland because of what Donald Trump is going to do, do to the country.
Now, okay.
In completely unrelated news, the FBI is going through all those Epstein documents. I said unrelated.
Yes, and there is actually a new Diddy documentary also on Netflix. I think.
A what?
Yeah. Diddy.
A Diddy documentary?
Yeah, the Diddy documentary. Yeah, they're looking at the freaky parties.
This is because of Donald Trump, you two.
Oh, okay. All
I'm
right.
just saying.
So it has nothing to
and
do
then
with
just I'm sure completely unrelated news. All those Epstein documents are being reviewed by the FBI.
FYI.
The same. Okay. Just when you think the extremist left cannot get any dumber or more egregious, one of them sinks to a new low on this. This might actually even be too low for the Democratic Party.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's saying something.
And by the way, Missouri lawmakers agree time to end the failed experiment of St. Louis running its own police department. We've got reaction and the update for you on that.
That's why you can't have nice things.
That's right. At 7:35, right after we hear from Larry Connors. Okay, so an Illinois state representative is trying to provide legal cover for people who attack and beat and batter other people.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Stop. Back up.
Yeah.
Say that again.
Okay, so an Illinois state representative has filed legislation providing an affirmative defense.
Affirmative defense.
Meaning it is a legitimate defense by law, if this were to pass,
Okay.
For people who attack and beat and literally commit battery against other people. If the victim is a police officer.
Whoa.
Yep.
Okay. So, okay. Let me wrap
specifically, but only if the victim is a police officer.
Let me wrap my head around that.
Yes.
So the legislation is trying to provide a defense,
affirmative defense,
an affirmative defense of the idea, just the idea of it, of somebody battering a police officer.
Correct. So it is
okay. You're gonna have to explain.
In case you
want
want
that some more.
Yeah,
I'm confused.
So this is State Representative Lisa Davis.
Let me take a shot in the dark here, Mike.
Yes.
Wouldn't be from Chicago.
That is a darn good guess. Yes.
Okay.
Darn good guess.
All right.
Okay. So this is, if you want to get into the wonky stuff, HB 3458. Okay.
All right.
So here's what this does.
This is real legislation. That's the point of the number. This is real.
Yes. Let me because I saw the report, even though it was on a national thing. I'm like, yeah. Let me go look for myself.
Yeah.
I do that a lot.
Yeah.
By the way.
You kind of have to.
And believe me, there are many things that you see explode on social media that turn out to be bogus.
Oh, yeah.
Never make it onto the show because we bother to go check it ourselves. Here is the official synopsis, and I'm reading this from the Illinois Assembly's website.
Okay, so this is
from the legislation.
This is their selling of the bill,
right?
Essentially, because that's what the synopsis is about. It's trying to sell the bill.
Synopsis as introduced amends Criminal Code of 2012, provides that it is a defense to aggravated battery when the individual battered is a peace officer and the officer responded to an incident in which the officer interacted with a person whom a reasonable officer could believe was having a mental health episode, and the person with whom the officer interacted has a documented mental illness and acted abruptly. So if the victim is a police officer,
right,
and if somebody says, well, I was having a mental breakdown, then this is an affirmative defense against aggravated battery and battery. So literally hitting the police officer with something, including your fist or a baseball bat or whatever. And if you say, well, it was a mental episode and they're a cop, so I'm good.
Let me break it down. Crazy people are allowed to beat up cops.
Yes, or at least temporary insanity.
Yeah.
I mean, they say if you're acting crazy, by the way, if you want to go beat up a cop, you're acting crazy.
Right.
So that covers anybody who attacks
Seriously,
cops.
because this is one of the things that I never, ever understood. Why on earth would you put your hands? Would you even act aggressively against a person who has a lethal and non-lethal weapons and the authority to use them on you?
Yes.
I've never understood that. So I automatically, if you are up in a cop's face, if you're spitting on them, if you're yelling at and throwing stuff, certainly if you're putting hands on them, I regard you as crazy.
Yes.
Because it doesn't make any sense. It's like, hey, look, there's a bear. Let me go wrestle it. You crazy.
Right. And you get what's coming to you. By the way, the bill only targets police officers as victims. It specifically does not allow for the battery of firefighters. Guess what her husband does for a living?
He's a firefighter.
He's a firefighter.
Wait a minute. Okay, so here's another thing. If it is an affirmative defense that you're crazy and you get approached by a cop and you're allowed to beat the cop, like that's the idea, right?
Right.
If you're crazy and you're approached by an employee of a store where you're acting crazy, are you allowed to beat them up and have an affirmative defense?
No, you're not, because they're not a cop.
But wouldn't it be the same thing?
Well, it depends on how much you hate the cops.
Okay. Yeah. Now I get it.
Yeah.
All right.
This is, keep in mind, the same lawmaker who filed a bill to create Little Palestine Day in Illinois.
Okay.
One of those.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
It's all making sense. Stell, Chicago.
Oh, I'm telling you. It's definitely one of the weirder parts of the country.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What the heck do they put in the water up
Because
there?
I saw the story on Fox News. And then when I'm reading this, I'm like, this is nuts. And so I went and started looking up stuff myself. I looked up the bill. I'm like, yep, that's what it says. It literally says, if we say, you know what, looks like you were having a mental health issue, looks like you're a little bit crazy, you've had mental, so you get a free pass to throw hands or rocks or bats at police officers, but only police officers. You can be held accountable and prosecuted and put in jail for doing that to anybody else.
Right.
But a police officer, you get a free shot at.
I am so over it. I'm over it. I don't understand. Okay, look, just real quick. If when the whole Coldwater Creek thing was happening, and they say, you know what, there's a crazy instance of cancer around this certain area. There must be something in the water. Blue cities, there's something crazy going on. There's something in your water. Because all of you are crazy.
Yeah.
There's an exorbitant number of crazy people in your areas. There must be something in the water. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, welcome to Chicago, where we have great pizza and wacky lawmakers.
That's fair.
Yeah,
because I did the last time I had pizza up there. I've got to say it was kind of spectacular. You know, the cholesterol hasn't yet cleared out of my body, and that was 3 years ago.
It'll take a while,
but it was it was worth it. It was worth it. That's for sure. All right, just ahead here. Speaking of going from saying go ahead and attack police to standing with police and public safety, what a difference a trip over the river makes. We're going to talk to Kirk Hilzinger from the St. Louis City GOP. They are pretty excited and doing the happy dance right now because state control, or state oversight, I should say, of the police department is about to happen. They've been pushing for this for years. We'll talk about that and give you the update of what it all means at 7:35, right after we hear from one Mr. Larry Connors.
Yeah, he's got a question. He's got another example of how some members of Congress are anti-American. Really?
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I can't rule out a spot shower today, but odds are low at only about 20%. Otherwise, our hefty dose of spring-like weather continues. Up to 81 this afternoon, partly to mostly sunny. Partly cloudy tonight, a mild low of 59. And then tomorrow, windy, partly cloudy, 81 for the high. But be prepared for severe storms with destructive winds and tornadoes also possible from about 7 p.m. Friday to around 2 in the morning on Saturday. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
John Beal knows that winter can be really hard on your roof. You get ice, then melting, more ice, maybe snow, melting, more ice, sleet, snow. In time, those shingles have had it. Then you get spring rains, thunderstorms. A word of advice: this is a good time to check the roof before you have real issues. Call my friend John, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, 1-800-NEW-ROOF.
Larry Connor's commentary, brought to you by Vincent's Jewelers, offering a wide selection of jewelry, including lab-grown diamonds, affordable earrings, bracelets, necklaces, and rings, up to 75% off their natural counterparts. Visit vincentsjewelers.com. This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
Okay, it's been more than 3 days, and I still don't have an answer. Why a member of Congress would cast such a stupid vote. Am I the only one who wants the answer? This deals with cracking down on drug cartel tunnels running from Mexico into our nation. Since 1980, more than 140 tunnels have been uncovered and destroyed. And it's safe to say we haven't found all of them. Of course, drug cartels use them to smuggle drugs, children, whatever, from Mexico into the U.S., and most likely ship guns and ammo from the U.S. to the cartels. The Border Patrol estimates there's been an 80% increase in these tunnels, and that was before Trump closed the border. So there's a proposal aimed at funding more efforts to locate and destroy these tunnels. The vote unanimous in the House, with one exception. One member of Congress voted against destroying cartel tunnels. Democrat Michigan Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib. Right after the vote, reporters asked, "Why did you vote no?" She didn't answer. Her office responded, "No comment." Since then, I haven't seen any reporters pressing for answers. You know, on one hand, I don't care, but on the other, I want her to explain why. Why did you vote in favor of drug cartels? Why are you in our house?
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
Let's get together and celebrate our great victories. Tim Jones here, inviting you to join News Talk STL and all of our conservative friends on Friday, March 21st at Old Hickory Golf Club in St. Charles for the Lincoln Trump Dinner. Cocktails, dinner, lots of great speakers, and more. Log on to stcharlesgop.com for details and to purchase tickets. The 2025 St. Charles County Lincoln Trump Dinner, March 21st, stcharlesgop.com, stcharlesgop.com.
The Vic Borselli Show.
This is the actual precedent set why Bernie Sanders cannot have a 32-hour work week.
The Department of Labor wishes to report that the workers of Fredonia are demanding shorter hours.
Very well, we'll give them shorter hours. We start by cutting their lunch hour to 20 minutes.
Where's Fredonia?
Oh, it's right.
Oh, here we go.
It's on the southern part of Gooberstam. Yeah. And of course, Rufus T. Firefly was the leader of Fredonia.
Vic Borselli, weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Tony Colombo here for my dentist, Dr. Matt Boscia at New Creation Dental Care, the one-stop shop for all your family's dental needs. And Dr. Boscia is always expanding his services, now including the incredible all-on-4 full arch implant procedure, full mouth restoration that can give you back your smile in as little as 1 day. No more suffering with damaged or missing teeth or poor fitting dentures. You can see some amazing smile makeovers, learn more about the all-on-4 procedure, and see everything Dr. Boscia can do right now at newcreationdentalcare.com.
If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
The far left wants to destroy conservative values in America.
This is News Talk STL. Welcome home. Love the music you hear on the morning show? Check out Mike's morning music playlist at newstalkstl.com.
Check it out. New music from Bryan Adams.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear the second.
Sometimes life can hit you hard. Might even leave you scarred.
Not bad. Not bad.
Still sounding good.
Yeah. I got to tell you, I saw him in concert back in like the early mid 90s, something like that, at the old Hearn Center in Columbia.
Oh, yeah.
And none of us dudes, it was like a bunch of us dudes and our dates. The girls wanted to go. It's Brian Adams.
Of course, yes.
And we're like, whatever.
Okay.
Oh, he about tore the roof off that place. That was one of the best shows I've ever seen.
Nice.
Yeah,
That was great.
everyone I've ever spoken to who's seen him live says he just does a great show.
Yeah, it was fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic. Now, if he'd keep his trap shut on like political stuff, that'd be a little bit better.
Yeah.
But no, that's great. I like Brian Adams. All right, it is 7:38 right now. All right, it's happening, people. State oversight of the St. Louis Police Department is going to become a reality this year.
Yay.
By the way, just remind everybody that News Talk STL app, update it or go get it.
Yes.
There are multiple ways for you to connect with the program live. You can call us through the app. You can text us. You can voicemail us through the app if you don't want to go live and just want to send us your comments on something. And then obviously you can access all the podcasts and follow the shows. There's all kinds of stuff. You do not have to give us any personal information to download or use that app. There are some features where you need to put in like an email address or a zip code or something like that.
You do actually need the email address.
Right.
Like I think that's the one thing you need to have an accurate information on.
If you want to do some features.
If you want to do some features, right.
But you can use most of the app with nothing.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
download it. All right, joined now by Kirk Hilzinger. He's the chair of the St. Louis Republican Party, City Republican Party. And congratulations to you. Kirk and I were texting last night and like ridiculously early this morning. So I don't know if Kirk's had any sleep or not. But because you have been between the GOP and obviously Freedom Principle, and this is something you've been working on along with many others for a long time. So congratulations to you and everybody else who's been pushing this. The governor says he's going to sign this bill. I don't know when, but it's going to happen, Kirk. The experiment of the city running the police department is about to end.
That's correct. And yes, it was all night partying. No, it was me thinking of what's next. Really, you gotta thank Brad Christ and you gotta thank Nick Schroer for working so hard on this. And there's one other person that I apologize that I can't remember who really worked hard on this. But you know who worked and it wouldn't be possible without would be Tashara Jones, Megan Green, Corey Bush, Kim Gartner, and the rest of the defund the police, pro-criminal St. Louis squad, I call them, who decimated the police department and allowed crime to flourish. Had it not been for them, this would never have happened.
Morning, Kirk. Gabe here. So remind the people why and how this change is eventually going to improve public safety in the city.
Well, right now, immediately, you're going to see police not, they're not looking as hard for other jobs. Right up to this point, whenever I would talk to a police officer, they would admit, yes, they are looking. They don't believe that City Hall had their back, and they were getting out because it's just, number one, being a police officer is a thankless and very dangerous job. However, not having the support of your boss really makes it hard for any person in a job. And now that Jefferson City is taking over, and people like Andrew Bailey said, if it comes down to it, I'll defend you. That is going to help. And I'm hoping what that also translates into is more people being recruited by St. Louis City, because I believe we are 500 officers down. I know they like to use 400, but with crime being out of control, I'd like to see more just to get this done. But, the first, 1, 2, as we go, the more police we get to join, the better it's going to be for them. And then they can do things like property crime and traffic enforcement, which right now, most of the time, they're going from 911 call to 911 call.
We're visiting with Kirk Hilzinger from the St. Louis City Republican Party. And I want to follow up on that because, one of the things that, is being pointed out, well, just because it's a board of commissioners running the police department doesn't mean that suddenly crime is going to be solved overnight. And that's absolutely true. So then the question comes down to, okay, once this is put into place, and the commissioners may not be in place until August. So there's going to be a transition over to this. They're not going to hire that many officers that fast. They still have to go through the academy. They still got to be recruited, but it is going to cost the city more money because they have been defunding. So they're going to have to fund the police department, and they're not going to have a choice over this, assuming the commission does the job that they're supposed to do, which I'm sure that they will. So what are the things that we should be looking forward to? And I think you made a good point, Kirk, as far as, well, the first thing is you're not going to really notice it, but when police officers don't leave and we hold on to some who may have otherwise left, that's not something we're going to notice, but that's actually a step in the right direction. At that point, then, what should we be demanding and looking forward to? Because, the mayor's failed, city hall's failed. Now we're going to look to the state commission and say, we demand you, and our eyes are now on you. We're watching you like a hawk. What are the next steps that they should take? Because this affects not just those 911 calls, like you were saying, and you're right about that, but this also eventually affects the entire livability and the marketability of the city.
Well, one thing that it can do, and thank you for Amendment 4 passing in order to make sure we put 25% of city revenue into public safety. But, I go around the police and they show me their 30-year-old service weapons, and these cars that they have are in really bad shape. I mean, you wouldn't find these in a used car lot anywhere. And then also it would help. These police are bringing shotguns to gunfights where the criminals have drum mags in their rifles. So at a very minimum, you could start getting equipment out to the police that they desperately need in order to do their job and go home at night. It will attract more police, especially if you get their pay right, which I think the commission can do. Remember, Tashara Jones gave up hiring 124 police because she couldn't get anybody to sign up under her. So I think that's where it comes. I mean, where they've defunded the police for so long, I think reinvigorating the public safety aspect of St. Louis City will really help encourage more police to come and give them the tools they need to better effectively do their job.
Good morning, Kirk Stalpontikas here. So with the jurisdiction going back to Jefferson City, I realize there are city funds to help the police. Are the state officials available to add more funds to the police department in the city? Can they do that?
I don't think so.
Okay.
And I think that's what that rumor was one of the biggest reasons a lot of people around the state were very much against this, because they didn't understand that it wouldn't be Jefferson City funding the police. It would be St. Louis City. And what's really great is for some of these defund the police types like Tashara Jones is that's a bill that comes due. They are not going to be able to ignore. They have to pay it regardless.
So the primary election kind of showed us where the people of the city want to go. We're gonna have a new mayor, right?
Yeah,
So what do you think that change, or how that change is going to affect the sort of public safety situation in the city as well?
Well, I mean, if you're looking at the scoreboard, Kim Gardner was the first to go.
Mm-hmm.
Corey Bush was the next to go. Looks like Tashara Jones is going to be following her. And let's remind people that the St. Louis City Democrat Central Committee endorsed Kara Spencer.
Mm-hmm.
So that says a lot. I think Megan Green is probably in 2 years going to be nervous about her job. So if anything, I see the voters in St. Louis City kind of shifting away from these hard left defund the police. There was a lot of defund the police sentiment after Michael Brown in St. Louis City, and they didn't want the police. But now that they got police having to step back and crime had to flourish because we didn't have resources, I tell people sometimes people have to burn their hand on the stove to figure out it's hot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and let's talk about the bigger picture in the last minute or so we've got here, Kirk. I mean, because obviously, we're looking at this for what it actually is a failed experiment, 12 years ish over the course of the history of St. Louis's, 150, 175, 200-year history, whatever it is. So we've got a very small moment in time historically where the city was entrusted to run the police department and they've just flat out failed. So we're fixing that. But for everybody else around the metro area, St. Charles County, St. Louis County, Franklin County, Jefferson County, Madison County, you look around, this has an effect on the entire region not just the city itself, because the city, we're trying to reverse the dying aspect of it and people fleeing out of it. But what could this mean to the entire city with eventually public safety getting put back to where it should be? And that may take a little while. It may take a couple years. It may take a few years, but eventually this is going to have effect on the region.
Well, St. Louis City and St. Louis County, which oddly enough, when I was listening to Dennis Hancock, have many of the same problems. We are the economic driver for the eastern side of the state. And when you get crime addressed, I know the Board of Aldermen like to put a lot of money into the various areas of St. Louis City. Well, if you can't get people to come and visit those areas or live in those areas or open up businesses in those areas, that money's kind of a waste. And as far as the experiment, remember that the police control was moved in 2013 when we had a Francis Slay as mayor, not a lot of Cruzan or a Tashara Jones who were anti-police.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. All right, Kirk, really appreciate you checking in. Get some sleep, man. I mean, I get up and then after a little bit, I respond to a text that he sent me last night. And I don't expect at 2:55 in the morning to get an immediate reply.
What are you doing, man?
Go get some sleep, dude.
I mean, you do tend to have a nice large drink before you go to bed. So there's that aspect of your age.
I can respect that. There it is. All right, Kirk, let's give out the website, social media information. People want to connect with the city because right now there may be a lot of people in the city going, wait a minute, what? We got some momentum and they want to get in touch with the city Republican Party. How do they do it?
STL-GOP.com, or if they want to email me, chair@STL-GOP.com. We even have merch on the website, and I have a feeling that Nick and Brad are going to probably get a T-shirt sent out.
All right. All right. We'll talk to you again soon, Kirk. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Kirk.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. 314-912-1019. Is it bad that I'm kind of enjoying watching the Tashara Jones administration just flail about this?
No, that's perfectly reasonable. It's a perfectly reasonable response.
There's the policy aspect that I'm like, I'm glad this is changing, and I want people to understand this is going to take a while. But at the same time, this is a massive humiliation to the hard left. Because basically the state has basically come in as mom and dad and went, all right, that's enough. I'm taking your iPad.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
That's
so
what's
true.
happened.
It's so
that's
true.
What's happened. All right. 314-912-1019. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Tim Jones here for the Better Business Bureau, created by business owners who believe in the power of free enterprise and self-regulation. With BBB accreditation, you gain access to resources that help your business grow and thrive, like networking opportunities and dispute resolution services. Stand out among your competition. Show customers your business values trust and ethics. Remember, BBB accreditation, a promise to your customers you do business the right way. Visit bbb.org, 314-645-3300. BBB, the sign of a better business.
Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros, your all-in-one gutter service team that brings years of experience and quality that's affordable right to your doorstep. We discovered Gutter Pros a few years ago when we bought our home and inherited a gutter issue that was on the road to becoming a potentially big problem, but thanks to Gutter Pros was stopped before causing any major damage. They've also repaired the siding on our home because along with gutter repair, gutter installation, and leaf protection, the Gutter Pros are also the best for siding repair and installation. Learn about all the ways Gutter Pros can help your home at gutterpros.com.
Jeffco Patriot Radio. Every week, get the stories and insider analysis of what is really happening in Jefferson County.
We are basically kind of doing a little Tim Jones radio here with a focus on Jefferson County. My co-host, Billy Crow.
We're really excited to show the people of the region everything that Jefferson County has to offer.
Jeffco Patriot Radio.
If it's a big story in Jefferson County, you'll hear about it on Jeffco Patriot Radio. Sundays at noon on News Talk STL.
Hi, Kirk Hilzinger here, and I'm the new chairman of the St. Louis Republican Central Committee. I invite you to our meetings that take place the first Thursday of every month at 3710 Hampton Avenue. You can stay connected with us to learn more about how you can get involved, make your voice heard, and contribute to our shared goals. Together, we can make a difference in the city of St. Louis and the state of Missouri. For more info, visit our new website at stl-gop.com. That's stl-gop.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
And then the media.
1019 and 94.1.
They lying about what's going on in America. They lying about it.
News Talk STL.
Hey, this is Carl Higbee, host of Frontline on Newsmax TV, and you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
If I could find assurance to leave you behind.
I had a weird question, guys. I saw something a couple days ago that I'd never seen before.
What was that?
Kind of dawned on me. Okay, so when you hear emergency vehicles behind you, the lights and the siren, what do?
You pull over to
you
the
pull,
right.
You pull over, right? Exactly. You get out of the way. And so that was happening. I was on Dorset. I think I was on Dorset. And so I'm going west on Dorset. And, we all hear the lights and the siren, and I look up the mirror and, you see the top of the vehicle with the lights and the siren. And so, I was already in the right lane, so I was able to slow down and get over, and people are getting out of the way. And the vehicle comes up, and it's a tow truck.
Oh, geez. Okay.
It's a tow, but they had the full set of red and blue lights and a siren.
Oh, they had red and blue.
They had reds and blues, and it was like, I don't know, Joe's Tow or whatever it was.
Really?
And everybody was clearing out because we heard the siren. And I'm going,
I think that's illegal.
Listen, I don't have a beef with him trying to get to a accident or whatever the case is. I don't know what it was because I turned off before I got to whatever. Are tow trucks emergency vehicles?
No, that's illegal.
Yeah, it was
they're
weird.
Supposed to have yellow.
Yeah, this wasn't like an official department one. This was like some dude's tow truck.
Oh my gosh!
I mean,
that's wow.
I've covered the news for a long time, and my dad before I was born, my dad was a cop. I remember when my dad was a chaplain for the Illinois State Police Department. So I grew up, a lot of my childhood years in a firehouse because my dad was a firefighter in addition to being a preacher. So I've been around emergency services a lot. I have never seen a tow truck with lights and siren getting people to pull out of the way on a main thoroughfare. I'm
Dude.
like, it doesn't affect my life. I'm not angry about it, but I just thought that was curious.
I'm pretty sure that's super illegal.
Yeah,
I mean, because I remember if you remember one of our Not Today Satans, it was about this guy getting pulled over for having decked out his car in Christmas lights.
Yeah,
right?
that's right. That's
and
right.
one of the ordinances was you can't have red or blue. Now I said, okay, that sounds like a positive for the green lights,
right?
The green and white lights. So, but red and blue, I think, are verboten. Only emergency vehicles are allowed to have red and blue lights. That's my understanding.
The current, any police lights now are going to be LEDs.
Yeah.
This was the old style.
The spinnies.
So it's probably from some surplus lot.
Oh
somewhere.
my god.
The old bubblegum machine.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I had never, I mean, now listen, you see lights on them all the time, but they're usually yellow.
Yeah, they're supposed to be.
Even like yesterday, I was coming back from my baseball practice on 64, and there was a wreck on right past Ballast. So there was a wreck there, and even the what do you call it? The highway, not the highway patrol, but the highway emergency or the
MoDOT folks?
The MoDOT, yeah, the MoDOT ones. They've got yellow lights up there. They don't even have red and blue lights. But yeah, this guy was just like Joe's tow truck or whatever it was. I didn't catch the business name, but it was just like a garage tow truck with the lights and siren. I'm like, huh? Again, that doesn't change my life. Again, it didn't hurt my life at all. I just thought it was weird.
No, that's illegal. that's gotta be illegal. I don't think you can do that.
Oh man, let's see here. Laura says those lights have been like that for 20 years. I've lived here. It drives me crazy. The only logic I can think of is they are trying to get into an accident.
Oh my gosh.
Drum up the business, man.
I'm looking up the statutes right now because I am so curious.
Yeah.
My gosh.
I mean, it's not illegal to have lights on your car,
right?
Or truck, especially if you're going to do something, hazardous. But they typically have to be white or yellow on that. But it's the reds and the blues that were different. I mean, in this one, at least the reds. I mean, I could be mistaken on the blues, but I thought I saw red and blue. I think it was a surplus old like police or fire thing.
Oh, wow. Okay, in Missouri, a tow truck can use red and flashing blue lights if it is owned and operated by a public utility or public service corporation.
No, that's the difference. This was like, it was just a garage.
Yeah, it's just a dude.
It was not a public. No, it wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Billy Bob's garage.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Who I'm sure is making an honest living, and I'm glad he's clearing the stuff out of the street. But
dude, go to the amber lights. You're going to get pulled over.
Yeah. See what happens there. Interesting stuff.
Attention St. Charles, looking for a local spot that satisfies all your cravings? Mario's Donut Restaurant is your place to go for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. From mouth-watering sandwiches and omelets to delicious gyros, Mexican dishes, salads, and wraps, we've got it all. And don't forget our famous donuts. They're so good, they'll make your eyes glaze over. Dine in or carry out, our friendly staff is ready to serve you with love and care. Mention News Talk STL when you visit. Call 636-447-4515 or visit mariosdonutrestaurant.com.
Hi, Sean Long from STL Fenceworks. A new fence or deck is an investment in your home and your lifestyle. But how do you ensure that you're getting the most out of that investment? At STL Fenceworks, we know the key is satisfaction. Satisfaction means getting a fence or deck that not only meets your needs, but exceeds your expectations. Satisfaction means working with a team that cares about your project as much as you do. Satisfaction means having confidence in the quality of your new fence or deck, knowing that it was built with the best of materials and workmanship. STL Fenceworks, your satisfaction is our passion. And for me, satisfaction is knowing that providing for your family is how I provide for mine. Visit STLFenceworks.com and experience the satisfaction in making your backyard dreams into a reality.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on Newstalk STL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
KLDY HD3 Clay, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Attacks on Tesla dealerships and individual vehicles have captured the attention of House Speaker Mike Johnson. The violence erupted after Tesla chief Elon Musk teamed up with President Trump to combat government waste, fraud, and abuse.
Johnson described Musk's effort as heroic in a post on social platform X, which is also owned by the tech billionaire, and claimed that the radical left is behind the attacks against Tesla. Johnson wrote, quote, Congress will investigate the sources of these attacks and help the DOJ, or Department of Justice, and FBI ensure those responsible are prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Musk responded to Johnson's post with his own, thanking him, including American flag and saluting emojis. President Trump floated the idea of labeling violence at Tesla dealerships as domestic terrorism. Bernie Bennett, Washington.
The threat of a partial government shutdown looms as Senate Democrats threaten to torpedo a Republican-sponsored bill to keep the government running through the end of September. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says Republicans don't have the votes to pass the House-approved bill in the Senate. Democrats have been pushing for a 30-day funding measure. Newly minted EPA Chief Lee Zeldin launching an historic overhaul of the massive agency, cutting red tape and going after regulations that he says stifle American energy production and the U.S. economy.
Our actions will lower the cost of living by making it more affordable to purchase a car, heat your home, and operate a business. Jobs will be created, especially in the U.S. auto industry, and our nation will become stronger for it.
At the same time, Zeldin insists the environment will be protected. Tariffs expected to place high on the agenda. Secretary of State Rubio attending a two-day G7 summit in Canada. On Wall Street this morning, ahead of the opening bell, the Dow futures are down 85 points. NASDAQ futures off 83. S&P futures down 15. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Hey, it's big. Rob Schmidt recently beat CNN in key ratings as millions are tuning into Newsmax. Every night, Rob Schmidt is on Newsmax revealing the truth about Elon Musk's Doge. Tune in tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern and find out why Rob is the hottest person in cable news. Even President Trump is watching, and he says Newsmax is terrific. Reuters Institute reports that Newsmax is now one of the top news brands in America. Find out why. Just check out Newsmax on your cable system. Get Rob Schmidt with Greta Van Susteren, Rob Finnerty, and much more. Download the free Newsmax app on your smartphone or home TV to start watching. It takes just seconds. With Newsmax Plus, you can watch our great shows anytime. Go to newsmaxplus.com and start your free trial. That's newsmaxplus.com. Make the switch to...
From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I can't rule out a spot shower today, but odds are low at only about 20%. Otherwise, our hefty dose of spring-like weather continues. Up to 81 this afternoon, partly to mostly sunny. Partly cloudy tonight, a mild low of 59. And then tomorrow, windy, partly cloudy, 81 for the high. But be prepared for severe storms with destructive winds and tornadoes also possible from about 7 p.m. Friday to around 2 in the morning on Saturday. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
Jamie Allman here, tossing and turning over retirement worries. You're not alone. 3 out of 4 Americans share your concern about having enough saved. But here's the thing. A comfortable retirement isn't out of reach, even if you're planning for 30 or 40 years ahead. Every day, Jeff Portman from the Gemini Wealth Group helps people avoid the critical mistakes that can derail their retirement. Build your path to financial confidence. Visit GeminiWealthGroup.com or call Jeff directly at 314-888-0123.
Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor. Member FINRA SIPC.
Are the days of a personal doctor gone? Not at Body of Health Direct Primary Care. I'm Dr. Randy Tobler to share how our design is putting the care back into healthcare. Plain and simple, our members, not insurance companies, get our exclusive focus. That means same or next day appointments, responsive answers to your concerns, and a no-spin, big tool chest approach. It's about time you get serious time devoted to your medical needs. To learn about healthcare the way it ought to be, schedule a discovery call today at bodyofhealth.com. That's bodyofhealth.com.
Mike Ferguson.
We the people.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
It's not rocket science. Rocket science.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm?
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Man, it's 8:05 already.
This day is just flying
by.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez. All right, here's what's going on. We just talked to Kirk Hilzinger from the St. Louis City Republican Party about this, but I got the basic details. It is time to end the failed experiment of the city running its own police department, and those days are numbered right now. I've got the update for you on that. An area school board member steps down in disgrace, and unless there's some other big thing to this story, this will be the last time I report on it. As in this news dump, this will be it.
Yes.
And then maybe the Democrats are going to give me what I want. You know that I don't root for Democrats to get what they want.
No.
But I'm kind of rooting for them to get what they want right now.
Well, the thing is, when they're asking for things that are going to hurt them,
yeah,
and pretty much only them,
yeah,
you know what? Give them what they want.
The Democrats may give me my government shutdown. I was really bummed out yesterday because I'm like, the Republicans passed the spending bill.
Yeah.
You mean I'm not going to get my government shutdown? And I thought, well, I'm not giving up hope. Maybe the Democrats will foul this up.
Maybe.
To the point of doing this. All right, 8:06 right now. Like I said, let's go and dump some news on you here.
The morning news dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks. The morning news dump.
All right, a state commission is going to assume oversight of the St. Louis Police Department, City Metropolitan Police Department this year.
Mm-hmm.
On Wednesday, the State House, as expected, as we told you was going to be the case yesterday, they passed that crime bill to end local control of the department. Governor Kehoe has already said he is going to sign that bill into law. There is no date that I've seen yet as far as when he's going to do that. My guess is going to be sooner rather than later. The mayor will be one of the commissioners, and the governor will appoint the rest of the members to be confirmed by the state Senate. All of the members must be residents of the city. according to the new law. Mayor Tashara Jones says she's going to fight the change, but she's not outlined exactly what the strategy is and how she plans to do that. Obviously, you could file a lawsuit, but jurisdiction is pretty clear on this.
Yeah.
I don't know what she thinks she's going to do to stop this from happening.
Yeah, it seems pretty silly to, have all this weeping and gnashing of teeth for the return of state oversight.
Right.
And it's not control. It's not control, it's oversight.
Yeah.
And of course, the biggest issue is the money. That's really all it is. It's all about, oh no, you're going to make us fund our police again.
Yeah, there was one of the St. Louis state lawmakers who tried to take this conversation another direction. And of course, the Missouri Independent, of course, plays along with it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's, there's only 2 departments that are under state oversight. It's going to be St. Louis and Kansas City. That's where most of the black population is. We see this as a coincidence. So she's trying to make it a racial thing.
Of course, because everything's racial. It's either a racial or a sexism thing.
Right, precisely. No, it's a matter of you failed.
Yes. This is a failed experiment. It's over.
Yeah, the state had oversight literally going back to the 1860s.
Mm-hmm.
And then for 12 years, we said, all right, we'll give you what you want. You go ahead and do it. Now we have to take away this really crucial thing from you because we've seen how you run it.
It's a Civil War era policy, Mike.
Yeah, that's exactly. Jeez.
They actually said
all
that.
right. All right. Now, I'm sure she'll be talking about this tonight, but a debate between soon-to-be former Mayor Tashara Jones and soon-to-be Mayor Cara Spencer. That happens this evening in case anybody still cares at this point.
No,
I don't think so. I'm not watching it. I don't care.
Yeah. I don't care.
Channel 2 is hosting this event. It starts at 7:00 and they are going to be broadcasting it on Fox.
Yeah. I mean, and it's not to be flippant that we're just saying that she's going to be the former mayor. It's just a statement of reality.
Yeah.
It's just, come on. Like everybody knows the writing is on the wall in flames, the flames of her failed policies. So just accept it.
Let's cop to it. It's a little flippant.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie.
I'll take that.
I'm not gonna
well,
lie.
yeah, I am enjoying it way too much for it not to be. I guess.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's not like you're going to get a brand new, fresh, more conservative ideology. You're going to get basically more of the same, just the same bizarre, leftist ideology, but who might get the trash picked up.
Slightly more functional.
Yeah, functional. Yeah,
right. Is going from the fall down drunk to the slightly functional drunk.
That's right. The fun drunk at the party.
The fun drunk at the party, as opposed to the aggressive mean drunk.
Yeah, the don't touch me kind of drunk. If you go from the don't touch me drunk, you need to go home to the hey, tell that story again. Listen to this.
Exactly.
All right. Okay, so Republicans in the House, U.S. House, were celebrating the passage of their spending bill to keep the status quo going to September. A lot of conservatives we don't like this, but it's better than being blamed for the government shutdown. The president says, just pass this and give us room to negotiate something by the end of the year.
Right.
Trust us. By next year, we're going to have something that cuts government.
Big, beautiful bill. We promise. We promise.
Right. Well, it's to the Senate now. And Chucky Schumer says, we're going to block this thing. He lays out what the Democrats are planning to do in the Senate.
Republicans do not have the votes in the Senate to invoke cloture on the House CR. Our caucus is unified on a clean April 11th CR that will keep the government open and give Congress time to negotiate bipartisan legislation that can pass.
Okay, so 2 things. One, we are in the minority. The voters voted against us in November, but you will give us what we want or else.
Yeah.
Okay, that's one thing. Second thing, give it to them.
Let them have it.
Okay, I understand. They're going to say, but Mike, they're going to blame Republicans. The media is going to make it look like the Republicans did this. I know.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah, that's
I
every
don't
time.
care. Okay, we know that. You know that. The Democrats know that. They know they get a free hall pass from the media.
Right.
We know that's how it's going to be portrayed. But here's what I don't think they're looking ahead to. Go ahead and shut down the government. At least all these federal things that they don't have approval to spend anymore, because in a few weeks or even a month or 2 or 3, everybody's going to look around and go, oh yeah, there's a government shutdown. My life isn't changing. Maybe all this downsizing and cutting is a good thing, because it's not affecting me. They're going to prove our point.
Yes, you got to remember, this is the Doge era of politics, where the people who are usually in the middle of the road, who kind of only half pay attention to these things, they're hearing about the bull crap that Doge is exposing. They are like 80% in favor of Doge. So when you basically display what the government would be like if Doge got everything it wanted, basically. And you say, see, isn't this nice? And they say, you know what? It kind of is.
Right.
That's a win for the Republicans.
They are going to prove Doge's and Trump's and conservatives and MAGA's point if we let them. Don't get in the way.
Never interrupt your enemy when they're making a mistake.
Sun Tzu. Yep, that's right. All right. From being one of the highlight conservative wins in 20, and this is the last time I'm going to report on this story. It's done after this. So from being one of the highlight conservative wins in 2022 to resigning office in disgrace. Rockwood School Board member Izzy Imig has resigned after being cited by police in 2 cases where she's accused of trying to steal from 2 St. Louis County Target stores. So in both cases, police are telling us that she tried to leave without scanning multiple items on the self-checkout. Here's the thing, is her name is still going to be on the ballot next month. It's too late to remove it, even though she's requested not to be a candidate anymore. She said she's resigning from the board. She resigned yesterday, and from the race for personal and health reasons. She's ended her campaign for re-election, but her name is still going to be on the ballot. And I say this is literally the last time I'm going to talk about this, unless there's some big bizarre thing that happens. But she's got a couple of court dates for 2 different things on this. She was really one of, if not the first, kind of big conservative win where we said, look, we can get common sense conservative people on school boards, which is crucial. And we pushed hard for Izzy.
Yeah, we did.
We had her on the show. We did everything we could to help her win that seat. And she did some really good things. I don't want to take away from what she did, but at this point, tragically, for whatever's happening in her life, it's going to make it harder to get the common sense conservative people elected to the school boards. So I know people are saying, well, then don't harp on it. I don't want to be a hypocrite. I would be all over a leftist who did this.
Yeah.
So, but this is it. This is the last time. It's frustrating. I do think at the time she proved in the first, couple years she was on the board, she got a lot of stuff done just by shining a light on it. We do need more people who are going to do that. We've still got to win these seats in these school board elections. But this is frustrating that this happens.
Yeah. I mean, I think the main thing that I think a lot of us are feeling is just this deep sense of disappointment.
Yeah.
Because in a lot of ways, she was kind of the poster child for the type of person we wanted on school boards. This is the type of person we want on school boards. If you're like it, we were kind of saying, if you're like Izzy Imig, run for school board.
We did say that.
We basically said that, right?
Yeah.
So here's the thing: when that type of person disappoints you, it's like, okay, well, who's our poster child?
And if you're got a pattern of stealing, and thievery, for lack of a better term here, then you don't need to be on a school board.
No,
period.
Exactly.
All right. Let's see here. This was an interesting situation in New York yesterday. Border czar Tom Homan made an appearance at the New York State Capitol in Albany, denouncing sanctuary cities in the state, and by default, other cities and states around the country. The Trump administration obviously gone to court fighting New York over that, which their law allows illegal immigrants to get driver's licenses and prevents federal agencies from accessing the state's driver's license information. Homan tells Hannity on Fox, obviously, that Governor Hochul is getting in the way of removing public safety and national security threats.
You got a governor that doesn't share DMV data with us, which help us target these people, and she's going to notify them we're doing an operation against them. I mean, the job's already dangerous enough, and her actions make it more dangerous.
Okay.
Wow, I got to say, he actually went to Albany.
He did. He went to Albany. And did you see the video of the scene from this?
No.
Okay, it was pretty awesome.
Oh, really?
Okay, so he's coming out of one of the rooms in there, and their state capitol looks like pretty much all the state capitals, old, very pretty, ornate,
Neo-Greco-Roman.
So he's walking out of this building with the big ornate, door frame and all this kind of stuff. And there's a bunch of crazy screeching leftists screaming at him with police, holding them back and everything. And he's casually walking out eating an apple.
Oh, I love
Just chomping. He kind of like, whatever,
Look,
He looked like a freaking mob boss walking through Little Italy is what he looked like.
Yes. In film language, by the way, in film language, if you are eating in a situation where it would otherwise other people would be uncomfortable, that shows that you're a bad, you know what?
That's right.
It's like
you're a bad man. Shut your mouth.
Exactly.
That's right.
I'm just talking about Shaft.
Oh, man. All right. A couple of sports things going on here. The Mets beat the Cardinals in spring training on Wednesday. Miles Michaelis went 5 innings, 5 innings for this. So they're really ramping up for the season. He only gave up 1 run in that 5 innings. That's a really good outing. Listen, I know the game of baseball. I am not an expert, but I know it's hard to win when your team doesn't score any runs.
That makes it really difficult.
So he took the loss, even though we went 5 innings, only gave up 1 run.
Man,
you go 5 innings and give up only 1 run, you should get the W.
Absolutely. Come on, offense.
Which means everybody else who was in that batting lineup, you guys should have paid for Miles Michaelis' dinner that night.
Yes.
The final in Jupiter was 2-0. Redbirds play the Astros this afternoon. That is a 12:05 first pitch. That game's on FanDuel. After several days off, like 6 days off for the Blues, they are back on the ice tonight. They are in Detroit taking on the Penguins. That is a 6 p.m. game. That game is also on FanDuel.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL.
Get up, get up. Can't you hear the alarm? Get up, get up. This is your cousin. Get up, get up.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Get up.
Clint Black in concert. Clint Black, an incredible night featuring some of his greatest hits. Saturday, April 12th, 7 p.m., the Family Arena. Clint Black in concert. Special guests Ruby Lee and Emily Ann Roberts. On sale now at the Carroll House Furniture box office located at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster. Don't miss Clint Black.
At Complete Forestry Mulching, we're not just clearing land, we're creating possibilities. Brian Akers, owner and longtime supporter of News Talk STL, and our team helps property owners reclaim their land by eliminating invasive species and unwanted brush. Whether you're creating hunting paths, expandable usable space, or establishing clear property lines, we'll transform challenging terrain into pristine landscapes. Our state-of-the-art equipment doesn't just clear, it creates a protective layer of natural mulch, preventing erosion and keeping your soil healthy for years to come. Take control of your property today and save $500 on a full day of forestry mulching services. But hurry, this offer won't last long. Call Complete Forestry Mulching at 314-805-9902, 314-805-9902, or find us on Facebook. Complete Forestry Mulching. Together, let's clear the path to your property's future.
Hi there, Chris Cooper here, Serenity Wealth Management. Joining me in studio for the Serenity Wealth Now radio show this week, we've got Lindsay Grillo of Birdies and Barrels and Grillo's Chop and Barrel out in Lake St. Louis. We're going to talk about hobbies. We're going to talk about fun. We're going to talk a little bit about golf and some whiskey and making sure that you enjoy the lifestyle you deserve. Tune in this week, Sunday morning, 9 a.m., right here on News Talk STL.
Serenity Wealth Now with Chris Cooper. Sunday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.
If you have a phone, you have a radio. Download the News Talk STL app.
Just a convenience on the phone.
And listen anytime, anywhere.
Hey, this is Todd Showalter. Join me for the Right Mind Show on Saturday at 5 as I try to put some fun back into this wacky radio station. You know, and speaking of wacky, let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Saw a news article yesterday. It was in the Post-Disgrace. And did you know there are still opening day tickets available for Busch Stadium?
Oh, my goodness.
We're not that far away.
No, we're not. In this town to have them still available.
Yeah, let's get into that here in just a second. It's 8:21 right now. Hey, by the way, Chris and Tim were in Arnold last night. They had a mayoral debate. There's a hotly contested race for mayor in Arnold, and Chris and Tim were emceeing and being a part of the debate that they had there at the Eagles Club. So in conjunction with our newest show, Jeffco Patriot Radio, and what a great turnout. Did you see the pictures on Facebook that we posted? That place was packed.
I did see some of them.
It was packed. And let me tell you why I really like that. One, because I'm glad we were a part of it. And the new show, Jeffco Patriot Radio, which is really a cool show with Tim Jones and Billy Crow. But here's the thing, is that it's showing that in some areas, people are still really concerned about their local communities and their local governments. And to have that many people turn out for a mayoral debate in the middle of the week says a lot of good things about Arnold.
Absolutely.
About the people of Arnold. So thank you for coming out. And if you want to see those pictures or you want to tag yourself or somebody else in them, just go to News Talk STL social media, particularly Facebook, which is where you're going to see a lot of those pictures. So Tim Jones and Chris Arps were out there last night doing their thing.
Good on you guys.
On there. All right. So opening day, like the home opener, we're not even a month away. We're 3 weeks away, 3.5 weeks.
It's pretty close.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the schedule. March 27th. March 27th.
So 2 weeks away.
So yeah.
About less than 2 weeks away.
From today.
There are still tickets available for opening day. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember a time when you could still get tickets though. There was at one point, remember, opening day should be a holiday.
That's right.
I mean, like literally asking the city government to declare a holiday for the home opener for the Cardinals.
There was actually kind of momentum, like public momentum behind that concept.
And you sort of laugh and you go, well, but
right. Even those of us who aren't like opening day ticket people, we're like, actually, since Jim, Joe, and Alvin they're always out opening day, so the office is pretty much shut down anyway. Might as well give it the big holiday.
It's so. But now you're looking at possibly not a sellout on opening day.
I can't believe that.
That's crazy.
I mean, I can't believe it. I think they'll find a way to finagle it and I don't know, have one of their corporate sponsors buy 5,000 seats for $1 and then go, hey, we sold them. Which is a lot of times how they do that.
Yeah, that's how they do it.
Which is like if you go to the now, I'm not even going to pick on the Cardinals, but all the big league teams will say, guess today's attendance.
Right.
And you're looking around going, huh?
There's no way that number of people are
because they're saying those are the ones that were sold.
Yeah, they're just going by ticket sales.
Yeah, and you can
as opposed
finagle that
as opposed to like turnstile or entrance numbers. Like that. Those are different. If they actually publish those, that would be significantly different than the ticket sale.
But most opening days, you can't find it's standing room only.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Now
here's something. I'm asking the question: is St. Louis the most baseball of baseball towns?
Boy, St. Louis, Boston,
Chicago.
Yeah, I say Chicago.
And even the Dodgers. I would say even LA.
Yeah, Chicago. For a while there was with the Bulls run was kind of a basketball
town. Yeah,
but I would say Boston, Chicago, St. Louis,
and Yankees, New York.
Yeah, New York, obviously. Yeah. I mean, there's been a lot of Major League Baseball teams. You look at the Yankees, you look at the Mets, you look at the Dodgers, you look at the Giants. You look at just a lot of Major League teams out there.
But I guess I'm wondering how defined is the city by the baseball team as opposed to how much the baseball team is loved by the city.
Bob Costas argues that St. Louis is the best baseball town in America,
and that's kind of my contention. Like, look, I've been a Yankee fan my entire life. I'm a New Yorker, but I don't think of New York as that's the home of the Yankees. You know what I mean? It's like it's New York isn't defined by the Yankees, I think, the same way that the St. Louis is kind of defined.
And by the way, I'm in a room with a Yankees fan and a Cubs fan.
Yeah.
So if that should not clarify that I'm your favorite on this show, I don't know what else will.
Now, to be fair, I am also like an adopted Cardinals
fan. You
go. So
exactly.
Whenever they play the Yankees, though, it's
Here's where I have an issue. If you're going to have interleague play, which I was never really a fan of.
I agree. You notice that the two baseball players don't like that.
Yeah.
And you kick off the season, and this is not a knock against the Twins, but you kick off the season against the Minnesota Twins, followed by the Angels coming into town.
What are you
That's a
even doing?
very odd way to kick it off when you should be playing teams in your division or at least the National League.
I 100% agree. I do not understand why Major League Baseball is doing a lot of the things that they're doing. But there's a couple things about this, as far as your point about this being a baseball town.
Yeah.
I think that it is, and it goes beyond the Cardinals. Our buddy, Ed Wheatley, you know, he's been on because he's the one who did the documentary about the St. Louis Browns and wrote the book about a couple of books about the St. Louis Browns, one about the history of baseball in St. Louis. He also has another project where he looks at the entire history of baseball in the city. That's not just Major League Baseball, but also like including the amateur baseball and everything. And it really is part of the culture, which is what makes opening day, still having tickets available, interesting, because the fans are widely regarded, even the other cities that don't like us. And there's a lot of cities that St. Louis Cardinals fans are some of the most disliked around the country.
Yes.
Partly because we know the game better than most fan bases.
We're really good fans.
And we get a little snobby about it. Let's be honest. Listen, when it comes to World Series, we're what, number 2 behind the Yankees? I mean, we're the second most successful historically baseball franchise in the world, which is why fans are so frustrated. But right now, that lack of ticket sales is not a bandwagon thing.
Right.
It's not like, well, I don't think they're going to be very good, so I'm just going to go to work. These are the fans sending a message to the to the ownership and to Mozeliak and I mean, and
we're not happy.
Yeah, it's like, we see what you're not doing. I don't think the fans are blaming the players. I think this is targeted right at the front office.
Oh yeah. If you get into any conversation with baseball people in St. Louis, they're not talking about this player is doing this and this player is kind of messing up. No, they're talking about the decisions by the front office.
Right.
And there's like, this is terrible. It's hurting the game. It's hurting the city. It's hurting everything. And if they could just get their crap together, I'd be back on board.
Right.
I'd have tickets for opening day.
And so why is this so important? Because listen, we're divided all over by about 10 different things off the top of my head I can think of that divides us
easily.
The Cardinals is one of the things that's supposed to give everybody a reason to be on the same page for 2.5 hours on game day.
Right.
Whether it's a home game at Busch, whether it's an away game and you're at your favorite sports bar or whatever, you know, the sports is one of the things where you put aside all the other crap and you're all united for one thing, even if it's just for your team to win. That's not a small thing.
Right. I mean, you could be sitting in a bar out there in Ballpark Village or whatever. The game's on. Our team turns a beautiful double play. You turn to the blue-haired weirdo in the seat next to you. You give him a high five because you're both wearing Cardinals jerseys.
Precisely. And that's where it is. That's where it's at right now. And obviously, attendance at the games, they don't want to admit it, but the night games are affected by the public safety issues as well. But this is something that everybody needs to be taking notice of. If there are empty seats on opening day, the problem is bigger than anyone sees it.
What a bad look too.
Yeah.
And I hate to bring it up, but think back to the home games close to the end of last year.
Yep.
Those, especially the night games where you would see photos of literally empty sections in the stadium. And that's not good. You don't want to see that.
And the Cardinals do opening day right. It's one of the best, most beautiful opening day ceremonies that honors that history of a great franchise. They do opening day right, but I get it. I get the fan. I get it when the fans are sending a message. I really get it. I do.
You know what they should do? Just an idea that popped into my mind. Have the Clydesdales go out to every position on the field.
There you go. That's right.
Just have them stand there.
Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I can't rule out a spot shower today, but odds are low at only about 20%. Otherwise, our hefty dose of spring-like weather continues. Up to 81 this afternoon, partly to mostly sunny. Partly cloudy tonight, a mild low of 59. And then tomorrow, windy, partly cloudy, 81 for the high. But be prepared for severe storms with destructive winds and tornadoes also possible from about 7 p.m. Friday to around 2 in the morning on Saturday. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Fox News commentary.
All good things must come to an end. Southwest announced they will no longer offer this free perk. I'm Tommy Lahren. Find out the bad news next.
Why pay more for prescriptions? Stop overpaying and start saving with SingleCare. It's easy. Find your prescription on singlecare.com, show the coupon at the pharmacy, and start saving. SingleCare works at pharmacies nationwide and is completely free to use, whether you have insurance or not. So the next time you fill a prescription, check SingleCare to make sure you're getting the best price. Take control of your prescription costs. Go to singlecare.com or download the free app today.
Though it was probably too good to last forever, Southwest Airlines announced it will soon end its perk of offering 2 free check bags to all customers. Everyone is not out of luck. Those who have high point, high tier status in the airline's loyalty program, book Business Select, or hold the airline's credit card will retain checked baggage perks. But this new policy is set to begin with flights booked on May 28th and beyond. The airline is also getting ready to end its open boarding tradition that's been in place for more than 50 years. Assigned seating is coming later this year. This all comes as Southwest recently announced cuts to 15% of its corporate workforce. This all feels rather crummy for Southwest customers, but ironically, the news sent the stock up more than 9% earlier this week. As for my take on it all, I don't really care about the free bags. I just hope my plane stays in the air and makes a soft landing. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
Got tree troubles? Brock Tree Service has you covered. A Christian family-owned business with years of professional experience. From tree removal to stump grinding, emergency storm damage to snow plowing. We do it all. Residential, commercial, any job, any size. Free estimates, competitive pricing, and local experts you can trust. Call 314-267-2239 or visit brockstreeservice.stcharles.com.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
David Stokes, Director of Municipal Policy at the Show Me Institute.
We should rely on property taxes more because people hate property taxes. Because people dislike property taxes, they think long and hard before passing new property taxes. On the Show Me Institute Twitter page, a number of people have told me how stupid I am.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
At Elite Comfort Experts, they don't believe in gimmicks, just guarantees. And now they're teaming up with Amana Heating and Air Conditioning to bring you a 99-year compressor and heat exchange warranty and a 10-year parts and labor warranty on a high new efficiency HVAC system. This exclusive offer is available on qualifying systems installed before April 15th. Choose integrity and quality. Choose Elite Comfort Experts. Call Elite at 636-887-0971 or visit EliteComfortExperts.com. Mention the promo code NewsTalkSTL.
The news and talk
There is no denying this administration is off to a historic start.
that matters to St. Louis.
No president comes close to what Donald Trump has achieved over just the last 30 days.
This is 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hi, this is Aaron Dorr. Check out my show, Shall Not Be Infringed, Sunday nights at 9. But now it's more of Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
You know, it's easy to get riled up when we see the injustices that happen when the far leftists basically abuse their fellow man.
Yes.
Especially using anti-Semitism or some other form of bigotry, using physical force to stop people from going where they want to go.
Mm-hmm.
So it's easy for us to get wrapped up in that, and then we a lot of times turn it into a tribal thing or a partisan thing. But the reality is that the way we respond to those things matters in a big way, because you're setting a precedent, not just for future miscreants, but you're setting a precedent for what will we and will we not tolerate in our culture,
right?
Our community. It is 8:36 right now. Mike Ferguson here, got Gabe Pfeiffer here, got Stel Ponticus here. You gave me the whole thing just a second
Oh,
ago.
no. I was just going to comment on the music. It sounds like there's a sports documentary needs to be.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, we talked about that real quick, like opening day tickets
Mhm.
and, the Cardinals. And Righty Wright had an interesting comment on Rumble. He goes, maybe the Cards are pulling a Rams move to escape from St. Louis, move the stadium to Earth City, and they'll sell out forever.
Well, I mean,
I'd go to more games.
He's not wrong.
I'd go to more games.
I mean,
I would.
But they've invested too much into their current site, so I don't see that happening. But still, it's very disappointing to know that it's not sold out yet, because in the past 2 weeks out, you're clamoring, trying to find somebody to buy a ticket off of. So I'll pay triple if I could, but not this year.
Okay, so let's talk about the bigger implications of the anti-Semitism we're seeing on Columbia University's campus. I mean, that's what's on TV right now in the affiliated campuses. There are places this has happened and are happening in other areas. But let's talk about the importance of the reaction. In this case, it's going to be the Trump administration here as well. We're joined by Israel Ellis. Of course, he's the author of the Wake Up Call regarding global jihad and anti-Semitism. Israel, welcome back to the program. I think it's been a few weeks since you were on here. So the Columbia campus, Columbia University campus, they're now having arrests. We're having a lot of pushing and shoving, students trying to take over, buildings between Columbia and Barnard and all of those. And the administration says, all right, university campus, if you're not going to deal with this, if you're not going to crack down on the anti-Semitic behavior, we're just going to cut off your funds. And we're talking hundreds of millions of dollars at this point. There's all kinds of stupid ideas on university campuses. University campuses sometimes are just good for stupid ideas.
Yeah, that's
what
bread and
makes
butter.
something like anti-Semitism different that requires a governmental response?
Well, I mean, historically, we know where this goes. This type of free reign of lawlessness that gets directed towards Jew hating, and it becomes cool to be anti-Semitic. A lot of these protesters on campus don't even know what they're part of. They feel part of something. They yell slogans like the river to the sea, but if you ask them, they have no idea what river and what sea. They have no idea what they're participating in. It's just that on university campuses, a lot of young people feel like they need to be part of something. But where it gets dangerous is that we end up with ringleaders like Mahmoud Khalil, who is probably paid to put together these protests and to bring in what I call in my book the anarchy of lawlessness to benefit the lovers of death. And these are the useful idiots assisting Hamas to bring global jihad and the jihadist doctrine into America, into our backyards. And that type of radical ideology is going to create a systematic corruption within our educational system to bring us towards this anti-Semitic and anti-Semitism, making it more of a popular stance and turning around the victimhood of what has been done and perpetrated against the Jewish people, what has happened on October 7th, and then turning that and transferring it into victimhood of Palestinians. This is a classic move in terms of what happens within anti-Semitism movements. But we've seen it historically of where this leads, and it leads to the destruction of society, the breakdown of society. Trump knows this. The current administration gets this. And finally, we're getting the type of political activism, the decisive actions needed in order to protect society. It's not about Jews entirely. It starts with the Jewish people always, but then where does it go from there? It goes to other groups, other minority groups. It goes to the general and broader public. This guy, Mahmoud Khalil, has come here as a guest to America. He takes full advantage. He is, beginning a family here. He takes full advantage of everything that free speech and democracy brings to the table to advantage this guy. And what does he do? He brings his hate. He brings his anarchy. He brings terrorism into the heart of America. And now people are shocked that it's abhorrent. It's against free speech that we've got out. He's been arrested. He's been detained. Good for us. Good for finally taking control of the situation and bringing it back into sort of our narrative. But this is where the danger is. The danger is this, and it's very simple. When you go and hunt the Jew, everyone will be hunted. Society will be destroyed. We got to stop this right now. Moral responsibility is one thing, but it's got to be backed up with strength of action.
Good morning, Israel. Gabe Pfeiffer here. So, one of the most shocking aspects of this whole thing that's kind of come about are the videos of the young people on the Man of the Street interviews. They're even shown video of the chaos, the video that Hamas celebrated and sent home, the videos they sent home to their dad saying, I killed Jews. I'm so happy. Look, Dad, be proud of me. And they watch those things and they still cheer. They still say, well, I support all sorts of, whatever's necessary by any means necessary, river to the sea and Palestine forever, all these other slogans. And their minds seem impenetrable to the moral failures and the disgusting violence and everything. What responsibility do you think does higher education have in fostering those sorts of minds?
You cannot go into any educational system or school today, regardless of the subject matter, without encountering and being indoctrinated into anti-Semitic rhetoric. It has become sort of mainstream popular. It is dangerous. We are at the crescendo right now, and we need to do something. What you are describing with respect to what we see and how that affects us, and yet you've got feminists who are standing up for Hamas, though Hamas uses rape as a common methodology of its warfare. You've got children advocates who are standing up for Hamas, though Hamas uses children for suicide bombers and the abuse of children and children as human shields. You've got Queers for Palestine. I love that. Yeah. Standing up for Palestine, and yet you wouldn't last more than 5 seconds alive if you held the hand of your boyfriend inside of a Palestinian-controlled neighborhood. It is the ultimate dissonance. It is the ultimate dissonance that is described when we go ahead and see something, and yet within, for whatever reason of our DNA that propagates the Jew hatred that I talk about in the wake-up call, and we got to wake up to this. It just boggles the reasonable mind. But at the end of the day, hate and emotional response to something that you want to believe, no matter what you see, tends to override within the unreasonableness of people. It is unreasonable. It is dissonance. And at the end of the day, if you don't use your strength to stop this, and you're not active to go into the schools and stop the syllabus of hate, 20 to 30 years from now, one of these people are going to be president of the United States. And then, and this is what happens, right? This is the global jihad. This is the infiltration of the global jihad that's been going on since 9/11. It is the education. It is the evolution. It is that osmosis into the educational system, culture, and lifestyle that creates the dissonance that is totally unreasonable, that ends up creating leaders like we've got them sitting in Congress right now wearing their keffiyehs. And what happens when that becomes popular? You've got the beginning of the destruction of America. End of story, to be candid. So either we do something about it today, and we use political activism, we use the rights to, it's an impossible situation when you're trying to protect the democratic values and way of life of Americans, and you have to do that in sensitivity to the First Amendment. And yet people like Mahmoud Khalil have abused, laughing in our face, leveraging the First Amendment against us by going ahead and propagating hate and anarchy, and then we arrest them, and then they wave the First Amendment in front of our face. They're laughing at us, and it puts us in a very difficult situation. But we have to act, and we have to act with strength, and that is what that is what I see happening right now. And so I'm glad that we're doing it. But the question is, are we going to carry through?
Good morning, Israel. Stal Ponticus here. So with your experience investigating extremist ideologies, and this may be a question you can't really answer, but I'm wondering what your thoughts are regarding the inept response at universities like Columbia and the other Ivy League schools and various universities across the country when situations like this arise on campus. Why do you think they're doing such a poor job handling these situations?
Because they're on the bankroll of Qatar. In 2012, around there was this controversy over hundreds of millions of dollars being placed into educational systems in America, and the response of the university was quite was quite straightforward. We will not allow this money to corrupt or to alter our syllabus of education. Ha ha ha! Right? It's because the liberal movement was bankrupt and it needed money and it took money from the devil. And what do you think is going on here? Money speaks. These guys are all funded by, if you look at the funding of Columbia, you're going to find out that there's tremendous amount of funding. It's no longer coming from American institution. It's coming from overseas. And money is always going to influence the outcome of the narrative. And so what we've done is we've allowed this to happen. We've allowed the situation. People have warned us that the money is going to corrupt the educational system. Now it is endemic. It is ingrained within the narrative. How you reverse it? You got to stop the flow of money. You got to disallow that type of foreign influence into our institutions that are going to create the policies that are going to implement the narrative of what the future is going to be. The extremism, the radicalization, the jihadists, the allowance of the global jihad coming in is because of the Iranian Islamic regime supported by big money out there within, Qatar being, the bid factor. And all this money is from oil that we're purchasing from them, and that we're supplying them the money so that they get off the wealth, so they can go ahead and turn that wealth and inject it into our society. So it is madness when you look at it from 30,000 feet up in the air. You think, wow, what have we done? But we've done this to ourselves by allowing, and the liberal movement has invited this into our back door because it was like, fund us today so we can get to the power base and we'll deal with the consequences tomorrow. Well, now we're dealing with the consequences. The consequences here, and it's the degradation of America and it's degradation of everything that we have fought for hundreds of years to get to this point. And now it's all falling apart. So you got to deal with the global jihad. I talk about it in the wake-up call, global jihad and the rise of anti-Semitism in a world gone mad, because the world has gone mad, and mad is capitalized. Mutually assured destruction no longer matters when you're dealing with the lovers of death. And this is what people need to understand. This is the reality check. This is the wake-up call. Wake up, people.
All right,
because this is coming for you. This is in your backyard.
All right, Israel Ellis, and once again, the book called The Wake Up Call, Global Jihad and the Rise of Antisemitism in a World Gone Mad. And we do have that on the News Talk STL book club. If you go to newstalkstl.com, hit news and more, you're going to find book club. You can find the link to buy that book directly. Israel, thanks for being on the program, because I know this is unfortunately something I'm probably going to need to get back in touch with you on to get an update on, because I don't think it's going away anytime soon.
No, and they're out there hunting.
Yeah.
They're out there. They've got websites now hunting IDF soldiers who've participated in defending the world, defending us. It's terrible. It's disgusting. And we've got to do something about it.
All right, Israel, thanks so much for being back on. Good to talk to you.
Thanks, Israel.
Thanks very much, guys.
All right. 314-912-1019. And once again, check out the book club, because that book is on there right now and you can find it.
We are only a few steps away from looking like Europe, or looking like, we'll say the UK in particular.
Right.
They have almost entirely been captured.
Yep. And they kind of did it willingly. And then when it was too late, they go, oh, wait, no, that's not what we meant. Well, too late.
Too late.
Yeah.
Well, there you go again, listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
The Herzog Tomorrow Foundation provides private school tuition scholarships through Missouri's new Most Scholars program to cover the cost of accessible, high-quality schooling.
Hi, this is Myella Esser with the Herzog Tomorrow Foundation. Our private school tuition scholarships wouldn't be possible without the support of generous Missouri taxpayers. If you're a Missouri taxpayer interested in redirecting your tax dollars and sending them to Missouri students in need of a better education, please contact me at herzogmostscholars.org.
Better education for students creates a better tomorrow for all. Learn how you can help provide a better education for Missouri students at herzogmostscholars.org. That's herzogmostscholars.org. Also, sign up for The Lion, an initiative of the Herzog Foundation that carries articles covering a wide range of issues facing American families and culture. herzogfoundation.com. That's herzogfoundation.com.
Hey, Tim Jones here with a reminder. Winter is the perfect time to obtain an expert evaluation of all your trees, shrubs, your biggest assets for safety, health, or maybe even removal. Hanson's Tree Service, locally owned and operated, not only can consult with you on the exact services you need, but during the winter months, you might even save more money. Keep their emergency number handy in case you need it. Emergency removal anytime over the winter months. Hanson's Tree Service, 636-379-1830, hansonstree.com. That's hansonstree.com.
Attention off-road enthusiasts. Iron Bear Customs has the strongest bumpers on the planet. Plus, brush guards, lift kits, and custom cages for all vehicles. Visit ironbearcustoms.com and mention News Talk STL for 10% off. Iron Bear Customs, built tough for the toughest terrain.
Discover Patriot Powder Coating, your family on specialist in Pacific. From small jobs to big projects, we got you covered. Visit our showroom or call 636-551-0377. Mention News Talk STL for 10% off.
The Allman Report.
Hey, Thursday on the Allman Report, get along. Little Doji has another scalp. It's the Allman Report, Thursday on News Talk STL.
Jamie Allman, weeknights at 8 on News Talk STL.
The tides are changing.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
The Democratic Party doesn't stand with what I stand for.
News Talk STL.
Hi, it's Randy Tobler here. Pour a big cup of coffee and catch my show every Saturday morning from 6 to 9. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning here on News Talk STL.
All right, don't forget, Flashback Friday tomorrow. You can put in your request on social media now, but that stream is going to wrap up here in a couple minutes, and be sure to email Stel if you got some recommendations. I don't have any like guidelines or themes or anything. Just give me the 80s bump music you want to hear.
Yeah. Got a good list so far, but if you want to try and sneak in, you got until 2 this afternoon.
There you go. All right. And after Flashback Friday, we'll be looking at the skies because we've got, apparently we've got some storms, but these are going to be a little bit weird in that it's not a matter of it's going to rain all weekend, right, Stel?
Right, correct.
Yeah, so we're looking at, what did you call it earlier this morning?
Squall line.
Squall line. Okay, and I asked you early on, I said, okay, describe what that means, because that's a term I hadn't heard before.
Essentially, it's a very thin line of intense storms that could reach, I know this is kind of hard to believe, but you see it every once in a while. They could reach from southern Canada down to Texas.
Wow.
And it's a really thin line, moves quickly, especially through the Midwest. And those storms usually pack 50, 60, 70 mile an hour winds, maybe even a little bit more, with a chance for tornadoes. But the positive thing is that they move through an area within an hour or two, and then you're back to normal. But still, you got to be aware of what's going on.
So we're looking at Friday afternoon, Friday night, something like that?
Late afternoon into the evening. I think Matt mentioned... Matt Chambers from Channel 4 mentioned up until about 2 a.m., keep an eye out because... for those on the east side, they're still going to be going through there. For those out in, let's say, Franklin County, et cetera, I would be concerned more with maybe 5, 6, 7 p.m. in that area.
Okay.
And then on the east side, midnight, 1, 2 a.m.
But then we're looking at an hour. I mean, still, a storm that hits hard for an hour is a big storm.
That's a big storm, yeah.
But as opposed to, well, it's going to be stormy all day long. This is only short term. Just concentrate. Take what you would normally get all day and concentrate it into an hour. Basically, is what I'm hearing.
It's a concentrated orange juice.
That's right. Well, because like I've got a neighbor who has it's one of those little crotch rocket motorcycles. You know, kind of not really a scooter, but little one, and all year round it's just sitting out there. And I'm like, that thing's getting knocked over on Friday.
Oh gosh, yeah.
I don't know where it's going to put it.
Stabilize.
He doesn't have
somehow.
a garage.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know where it's going to go.
Get a tarp.
But that thing's getting knocked over. He probably needs to pick it up and put it in his closet.
A good idea.
Say it,
you know, garbage cans, etc.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. If you were so industrious that you put out your patio table and the umbrella and everything to enjoy the weather, put that away.
Yeah, that's true.
I think you might want to put that away.
Yeah, put it down, chain it down, something at the very least, but get the umbrella things.
Yeah.
Because those things will end up in Indiana.
Seriously.
On this.
In Oz.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, Vic Porcelli's coming your way here. Don't forget, Flashback Friday tomorrow. Get your request in by 2:00 today.
So perhaps my work here is done. Perhaps it's time that I moved on to a place where there's stuff to do. Stuff to do.
Military history buffs and collectors, attention. Looking for authentic military collectibles? Look no further than Alamo Military Collectibles, your one-stop shop for genuine military artifacts, firearms to uniforms, medals to memorabilia, pistols, rifles, bayonets, insignia, patches, helmets, field gear, and more. Both American and foreign pieces. We offer cash or consignment for your items. Alamo Military Collectibles. Visit us online at alamomilitary.com or call 314-638-6505 today.
Looking for a unique dining experience? Discover a Finby Kitchen, the Midwest's only authentic Uyghur restaurant, now open in Chesterfield Valley. Join us for a culinary journey through halal Chinese cuisine that's already winning hearts in New York and LA. Our locally owned restaurant brings the vibrant flavors of Uyghur culture right to St. Louis. Visit us today and receive a free eco tote bag with any purchase over $35. A Finby Kitchen, where tradition meets taste. Find us in Chesterfield Valley or online at afinbykitchen.com.
We've been here 30 years, 30 Christmases in this house, and we have the traditions that most families have.
That's Terry talking about her experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We did Rhino Shield 14 years ago, and the house still looks the same as the first day. Rhino Shield really worked with me to help me get just the